Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I hope everybody had a productive day today, or at least kind of productive. Mine was kind of productive. Messed with the rabbits for a while. Got some things done with the garden, getting it moved inside. Um, the biggest banana pepper plant, I butchered it back. I trimmed it back for the spring, of winter, and the medium-sized one that was in the 5 gallon bucket that has, I don't know, it was probably 18 inches high. Um, it I brought it inside, and I'm gonna just put it by the window in the kitchen, see how it does with that sunlight. If that doesn't work, then I'll just put a grow light above it. But I'm just gonna run it full cycle through the winter and just see how it produces banana plants or banana peppers. So I'm excited about that. Um, the rest of them, I should get everything else in tomorrow because it's supposed to get down in the low 40s tonight. That's going to stress the tomatoes a little bit more. So I may wait one more day till it really hits the 30s to make sure they got nailed, and then I'll pull the fruit and save the seeds for next year. So that's what I did today, other than working on some good stuff for the show tonight. So let's see who all we got in here tonight. Georgia Peach, hello. I got your email. I did respond, and I'm gonna do my best to pop in tomorrow night for a little while on your stream. You guys, Georgia Peach is going live. I think maybe for first, second, not many times tomorrow night. She's going to try to go hot at 5 p.m. So if you get a chance, go ahead and go check her out. Debbie Sims, what's going on? Milkmaid, what's up, Savage? That's Milkmaid's new nickname, Savage, by the way. Angela B in North Carolina, hello. Get in between prepping, what's going on? Charming, hello and welcome. Keep, what's going on? Ghetto, what's up, my brother? Ronnie Braun, hello. I need to really figure out a way to make this chat move a little bit smoother when you're trying to navigate because you're rolling good, and then all of a sudden it jumps and you don't know where you're at anymore. John H, welcome, welcome. Mad Shad, what's going on? Did I say hello to Sherry Leach? If not, I'm going to say it again. She's a member. She can have it twice. Hello, Sherry Leach. Sprouts, what's going on? Welcome, welcome. Lake Fairy, hello, Lake. And for those of you that don't know what I've been doing with the show for the past 3 weeks, I do a members only live stream on Mondays at 6:45. But we hang out for half an hour or so. And oh, hey, Roman Pepper, what's going on? We hang out for half an hour or so, just chit chatting. But I let the members, channel members, actually choose the topics for the shows throughout the week. So they got some obviously some good ones for this week. And they did some good ones for last week, so that's working out pretty good. So they got a really good topic for us tonight. Tamara Reynolds, hello. Spotted Fawn, welcome. Yeah, so the members did a good job. They got a good topic for tonight. I just finished contracts, docs, but wanted to say hello. Good to see you. Yeah, man. Good to see you too. Anybody got any interesting Bigfoot? What's going on? Any interesting earth-shattering news they want to share other than the awesome election process that apparently worked last night? Yeah, so my nearest little town that I live closest to, they had their elections last night as well, and the mayor won. Guess how many votes that he won? Guess how many votes? I'm not going to say how many, but guess how many votes he had, and he won the election. So he had a majority of the votes, and he won the election. Somebody take a stab at it. How many votes do you think my local mayor got to retain his title as mayor? Well, instead of everybody typing numbers and having to wait, I'll just go ahead and tell you. The local mayor here won the contested election with a grand total of 85 votes. That's right, 85. 85 votes. That was the winning number. The losing number was like something like 63 or 36. It was low. So there wasn't even 200 people that even cast votes in the entire election. So yeah, that was pretty humbling. Yeah, if that's your closest town, you're good. Yeah, so that's pretty neat. Lady Hammer, what's going on? What, oh, what is happening? Yes, it was pretty neat. I didn't, because obviously I don't watch the news a whole lot, but I didn't get the results of the New Jersey election. I know it was neck and neck the last time I saw anything, and I didn't hear anything. Does anybody know if the Republicans won that seat as well? Issue 24. What's issue 24, Mad Chad? Hey, Southern Boy Prepper, what's going on? I mean, I've been to Ohio a few times. I could just guess and say issue 24 is something related to letting the sun actually make it through the clouds in Ohio. Joking. But yeah, every time I've been there, it's been snowing, raining, or so cloudy. It was just like, ugh. I've never seen the sun in Ohio, and I've been there a handful of times. Yes. So let's see what we got here. We got 43 people in here, so let's not hold the party up. All right, so the topic for tonight was a really good topic that the members picked out. And it was, I titled it the Art of Prepping, or the Art of the Prep, however you want to call it, but the Art of Prepping. Because the actual gist of the question that was or the topic that we were talking about in the members only chat was, how do you prep, with a family versus without a family, with, maybe you've got a woke family member that thinks it's stupid, but you really care about this person, and how do you stay motivated, to be a prepper in a household or an environment that is not conducive to the way that you think, that there aren't any like-minded individuals around you, or maybe you're just apprehensive with sharing, your beliefs and how you choose to live your life. And, we all thought that was like a really cool topic. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Mad Shad said issue 24 is defend the police, oversized commission, etc. Okay. All right. Well, on to and I invited a couple guests. Hopefully, I'll get through most of this, and then we'll pull some up here, and if they want to come chat and bounce some ideas back and forth, or just get like a feel of how the room reacted to the topics. But so the art of prep. So how do I prep? And this is from a brand new, never prepped before, to somebody that has been prepping for a while, but maybe your environment changed, i.e., you moved locations, you're in a different city or a different town or even a different country, or maybe you got a new neighbor, that's nosy as shit. Or basically, it's just if something in your environment has changed, or you're not sure how to react to your environment as far as prepping. How do I prep, or how would I suggest people prep? This is how I do it. And this I did it this way back before the pandemic and all this good stuff. What's going on, Hutch? And this is just a method that I use because number one, I don't like people at all. Like I really don't that much. I like animals a lot and I like kids, but as far as when you make it past like 26 or 27, you're just a freaking pain in the ass. Until you're 70, then you calm down. People are just hard to get along with. I have a hard enough time getting along with myself. So, being a people person is it's just not my thing. It's easy to do it on YouTube because I don't have to hang out with you guys. So it's kind of cool. It's like, yeah, but like if I had to like be around hundreds of people every single day and like it would freak me out. Kids, no problem. That's why I like, teaching. But as far as grown-ups, because everybody's passionate about their beliefs and the way they feel about things, and it's really, really hard to agree on things in a face-to-face sort of environment. So how I prep back in the day and even now, I usually go 2, maybe 3 days a week. I would go out and go do some prepping, some hauling. And what I would do is I picked a route from where I lived before, and I have a route where I live here now, and I would pass at least 2 grocery stores to get to the third one, the farthest out one. And what I do is I have a shopping list or a grocery list or a prepping list. Say if today was, beans and rice day, Then I would go to the farthest grocery store, and I would get about a third of what I wanted. I would get like a normal person's, monthly haul. I'd get, a 20-pound bag of rice, maybe 10 or 15 pounds of beans at the first store, and then some other random stuff, and then leave. And then I would stop at the second store on the way home, and I would get the same thing. And then I would stop at the third store, the one closest to my house, and I would get the same thing. So I'm getting, three times as much as anybody thinks that I'm getting, as much as anybody sees what I'm getting. And then the really cool part is if you get someone asking questions, like I have been in line before, and I had quite a bit of stuff in the cart, some serious prepping stuff. And somebody flat out asked me, like, my goodness, that's a lot of, and it was chicken that I was getting. They had a sale on the split breast chicken, and I think I had like 50 pounds of split breast chicken and probably another 30 or 40 pounds of just regular chicken breast. And the comment was, man, that is a lot of chicken. And it was actually the cashier that said it. And I'm like, yeah. And there was a lot of people in line, and other people heard the comment, and other people were looking at me because it was obvious I had a lot of chicken in the basket. Literally all I had in the basket. And it was kind of coincidental, but it was kind of cool because it was actually pretty close to Christmas time. It was last year, and this was during the craziness. And I simply, it was just a reflex. I looked at the cashier and I'm like, it's for the food bank. You know, I do this once a month. I get a whole bunch of food for the food bank. People got to eat. It's Christmas, and it shut down the questions right then and there because nobody's going to mess with you when it's for the kids or if it's for the food bank. So come up with some good ways, some good curveballs to get people off the trail if you think they're digging into what you're getting, or there's nosy people, or you just don't want anybody to know what you're doing. That's what I do. Now on to the next part is why should you prep? Why should you prep? That is legitimately, everybody should prep. I mean, this the word prep and prepping, was that's a media thing. The media put that on us. The art of prepping, what we do, it's living a normal life. It's the only reason you're here breathing right now, because if your grandparents and your great grandparents didn't live their lives this way, 365, 24/7, they wouldn't have made it through the winters. We wouldn't be here. I mean, so mankind has gotten so lazy. Well, I won't say all of mankind, most of America, and some of the rest of the first world countries have gotten so lazy and rely on technology and McDonald's, and you can just pick up your phone and have your food delivered to you within 30 minutes. They don't realize what actually goes into the production and the raising of that food. So we've raised a generation of low hanging fruit. I'm sorry to say. I mean, our kids and some of our grandkids are, if you're my age, low hanging fruit. They have no survival knowledge. They have no desire to learn it. They just want to go online and forget the world. And that's where this Zuckerberg with his meta thing is just, he's going to bank because that's what they want. It's freaking Matrix, man. It's crazy. But I mean, why you should prep? Why would you not want to prep? I mean, why would you not want to have a few years worth of food to make sure your family can go on and you can go on and you can eat? Because you know what? I like to eat every damn day. Okay. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Is that unnatural? No. I like to eat every day. I like clean water every day. I like having the things that I need to survive every single day. I like to breathe. So when people look at somebody that's a prep and they go, oh my God, that's weird. Why is that weird? Tell me why that's weird. Weird is you living in a $500,000 home and you've only got 2 or 3 days worth of food in your house to feed a family of four. That's weird. That's literally child endangerment, child abuse, if you ask me. I mean, if you took on the responsibility to have children and raise children, and you're basically, what you're saying is you're only worried about them for a 72-hour period. After 3 days, screw them. They're on their own. I'm only, no, you should legit. That's just common sense. If you're not a prepper, you're retarded. You're sad, and you're failing at being a human being. Is what you are. It is what it is. If that offends you, great. That's my job. That's what I do. I offend. I don't get offended. It is what it is. Um, should you keep your preps a secret, or your act of prepping a secret? Well, that's, thanks, Bug Out Bushido, man. Uh, the art. Should you keep your preps a secret? Well, should you keep a secret about anything? I mean, what's the reason to keep something a secret? You don't want anybody to know about it. It's got some personal, emotional, intrinsic value to it. Well, guess what? So do your preps. Now, if you're in a community like, say, with the Mormons, where everybody preps, then you know what? It's not really a secret because you're all doing it and you're doing it together. You know, that's your environment. So, yeah, the whole secret thing really doesn't come into play that much. But if you're out here in the world, you're in, you know, Jonesville, freaking Tennessee or something, and you don't know the people that are around. Just like when I moved to this community, to this house that I live in, I didn't know anybody in this town. Absolutely no one. Found the house online, drove a couple hours to see the house, loved it, made a down payment, bought the house. Never been in this town before in my life. I didn't know where anything was. I literally drove up with a moving truck. I didn't know where the police station was, the fire department, the library, the DMV, nothing, the grocery store, nothing. I just knew where my house was that I just bought. So I don't know anybody here. So do I keep my preps a secret? Hell yeah. Do I intend to keep them? Yes. It's none of their freaking business. Nobody's. The only people that know about my preps are my immediate family that live here with me, um, my neighbor, and everybody from months ago. You know, you choose to share your information at your own risk, but you choose it for specific reasons. I mean, I never would have shared the fact that I'm a prepper with my neighbor because I didn't know him. This was only a couple months after I moved in here. But here's the reason why I chose to. Hello, Lynn. The reason why I chose to is I had just left Tractor Supply with a couple rolls of 2x4 fencing wire, um, and a bunch of wire for my rabbit cages that I was building. And, I'm got a roll of wire on my shoulder and I'm walking to the backyard. And he's got a roll on his shoulder, a roll of chicken wire walking his backyard. And we're both in between our houses. So we were, a few yards apart. And he's walking on his side of the fence. I'm walking on my side of the fence. And I looked at him. He looked at me and he's like, "What you building?" I'm like, "What you building?" And he goes, "Man, I'm tired of the price of food around here." He said, "I got chickens on the way. So I'm raising my own chickens for meat and eggs." And I'm like, "Sweet deal, bro." And he goes, "What you building?" I'm like, "I'm raising rabbits. I'm tired of paying for the meat. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. So I'm raising meat rabbits." He's like, "Nice." He goes, "So what you're saying is I should probably get a couple of more laying hens." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll probably get a few more rabbits." And that was our conversation. And anybody understands what just transpired in that conversation. He just said he was going to get a couple more chickens to make sure he had chicken meat to give me and fresh eggs to give me. And I acknowledge that I'm going to get a few more rabbits so I have rabbit meat to swap him over the fence with. Yeah, like-minded individuals. Boom, done. Got a friend. If I need something, boom, I'm gonna take care of him, his wife, and his kid. It's on the way. It's actually due here in 2 weeks. But as far as just wearing a T-shirt that says, "Hey, I'm a prepper. Ask me about my day job." No, it's not. No, it's nobody's business. Period. Because if something does happen, if the balloon does go up, people are going to want your stuff. Are they going to want to come and take it? Or are they just going to come to the door with their skinny little kid banging on it, begging and crying? I don't know. Either way, they're not getting my shit. It is what it is. Now, will I share? Of course. If it's a legit reason and I can do it without endangering myself or my surroundings, absolutely. That's the reason I package a lot of my stuff in, week long portions, so I can just throw them a Mylar bag, at gunpoint, have a nice walk, get to stepping, but I do not plan on doing that, but just in case it is an option. Plus, those Mylar bags and say a week type, they're easy to travel with. Like if I had to bug out for some reason, I can shove 10 or 15 in the bug out bag and I'm good. If I'm in the vehicle, I'm good. They travel well, they store well. So it's just good to have them broke down like that. If all the stuff you got's in 5-gallon buckets, I mean, yeah, you can travel with 5-gallon buckets, but it's not tactically. I mean, you can't really shove a 5-gallon bucket in your rucksack. I mean, I guess you could, but that's pretty much all you're going to get in there. So you're going to just have a bucket full of rice that you can't reseal. Yeah, so not really very mobile, in my opinion. But as far as keeping it a secret, yes, keep all your stuff secret. OPSEC is the most important part of survival nowadays. And for those of you who don't know, OPSEC is short for operational security. You know, I never really tell anybody exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and what the outcome is that I'm hoping for. I have a plan in my brain, and I'll move chess pieces around the chessboard as I need to get me to my objective. So yeah, definitely keep your prep secret. Now, if you've got a big family and they're all in it with you and you guys are all prepping, you can talk about each other as much as you want. But here's the problem: if you got kids, they need to know everything that goes on in your house is not talked about outside of your house. Um, you know, honestly, if you had younger kids, high school age and below, I would even probably keep most of the stuff secret from them because they're not going to give a shit when you go into the grocery store and what you're buying. They're just pissed off because you're making them help you carry the stuff inside. So there would be a level of secrecy to my own kids until they were mentally old enough to understand what it was going and why it's important to keep it as a secret. So yeah, I would keep secrets from my own family members. Absolutely. Uh, I would legit, if I was married or if I had a significant other that was on board, and I thought in my mind, I'm gonna get some extra credit here. I would legit keep secrets from her or him if that's the direction you go in. Absolutely. I would keep what I'm talking about keeping secrets. Maybe I'd hold an extra $100 a month out and for extra seeds, you know, or an extra seed spreader, because that might come in handy. Maybe I go out and maybe I'm building secret caches in different places, just to make sure that I can go over and above. So yeah, there are reasons, legitimate reasons that secrets would come into play and they would be very, very helpful, especially with the misinformation part. If something happens and your family doesn't know where all your seeds and seed spreaders are, and say maybe they get taken hostage or somebody's trying to use them against you, they don't know where it's at. They don't even know that you had it. So that information is not going to be out there. So yeah, that comes in. It's a very important tool. Secrets are very, very important. Hey, what's going on, Pepper Book Club? Bug Dude, what's up? Bushcraft family, welcome. Hey again, Sherry. So yeah, secrets, very, very, very important. So if you got a family member that can't keep them at arm's length, keep them at a distance, or feed them that good old misinformation. Uh, Now that brings us to another one is prepping on your own if you're alone. And by alone, it kind of ties into the other topic of prepping with a woke family or a woke family member or just a woke community surrounding you, which leads into now, yeah, you're definitely going to be prepping alone. How would you approach that? How would you approach it? Like, say you have a woke family member. Say your oldest son or your oldest daughter is 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, and they're quote unquote woke. How do you do all the stuff that we just talked about, knowing you basically have a spy living in your house? How does that work? I mean, is there lessons you can teach them? Is there ways you can make them understand? Is there an agreement that you can come to? How would you do that? I mean, you're talking straight, mini-series soap opera type engagements with your own family member if things go sideways. I mean, myself, uh, if you start them at a young age and they get involved with the act of prepping and they know what it takes to manufacture and produce and process your own food, then the likelihood of that happening is very, very, very low. If you raise a 19-year-old kid that's woke and you're not, and you've never been in your life, then you screwed up somewhere along the way. You weren't paying attention. So you need to hit the rewind button and go back and fix that shit really, really quick because it can get ugly. And that's the thing. As an adult, you're responsible for your kids. A lot of people think, hey, well, they're 18, they're out of the house. You're still responsible for the way they behave because your job was to raise them correctly. If you let them turn into a woke uh, participation trophy, safe space, mine. That's on you, bro or sister. That is completely and 100% on you. So how you choose to deal with that is up to you. The problem is now you have to deal with it, and it's in a woke status. So you already failed. Me myself, I would definitely hit the rewind button in time, and I would make sure that I'm bringing them up the correct way from now moving forward. So that hopefully would not become an issue. Could it? Yeah. It could be something to where maybe it's a son or daughter-in-law or a fiance of your son or daughter. Somebody that's coming into the family from the outside that doesn't believe the way that you do. And everybody knows an 18-year-old kid, a boy, a male, is as gullible as it comes. All you need is a pretty face and a nice rack, and they're whooped. They're in the bowl. They're covered in whoop. It is what it is. So I mean, women are the devil. They take over at an early age. So you got to pay attention to that. So, you're looking at bringing somebody else into your family group. So there's going to be a sort of an in processing time before you want to bring them completely into the circle. Is it going to be hard? Yeah. Is it going to be a pain in the ass? Yeah. Are you going to have to trust your kid not to spill the beans? Yeah. But here's the part where you hope that you raise that son or daughter correctly, not to spill the family's beans. Because if they put a value on their life and their family's life, then this would be something that would be held, close to the chest. So yeah, you definitely want to deal with that. Because in a post SHTF, every single thing they said to somebody, it could have been nothing. Could have been nothing. Now it blows up into a big deal. So that's just a weakness that your family or your mag would have to deal with. Yeah, Milt Mate agrees with me. Boys are suckers, man. Trust me. I've done some of the stupidest shit you can imagine. I look back on it now and I'm going, what? Why? What? How could that have ever been a good idea? You're an idiot. But it is what it is. Yes, exactly. Dr. Herbo's family doesn't have to be blood. I've got family that is nowhere near related to me. It's more family than my own blood. Family is just, that's a word that you want to put on it. But yeah, your family doesn't have to be blood. And that brings me to the last topic, and then we'll open the floor up and hopefully get some family members up here. It's prepping alone. I'm talking about just you on your own, prepping on. Is it? Yeah, definitely. Is it harder? Yeah. Is it more expensive? Yeah. But I mean, here's the thing, and I'll give you guys a personal story, and then we'll wrap this up, and we'll see if you guys want to go any further. Um, you know, when I decided to really kick it into high gear and really start prepping hard a few years back, I didn't ask anybody. I didn't care what anybody thought about it. I didn't. It wasn't a. It wasn't a. Well, let's have big family meeting. Where I didn't do any of that. That's no. It's just one day there wasn't a pressure canner house. The next day there was a pressure canner in the house. The day after that, I was putting up cases and cases of food. There were 5-gallon buckets. There was a whole lot of rice, a whole lot of beans. I was building an aquaponics system. I was doing a hydroponics system. I didn't ask anybody's permission. I didn't share my vision. I just decided to go ahead and start taking care of myself and my family. I didn't ask. You do not need your family's permission or acceptance to make sure they got something to fucking eat. Okay? Go ahead and remember that one. I do not need any family members' permission to make sure they got something to eat in 6 months or 6 years. I don't need your permission to take care of you. Period. And if it's a matriarch or a patriarch, you're the man or the woman in charge of the house, you don't need anybody's permission. Do it. They'll ask questions. They'll get on board. Maybe they won't. Doesn't matter. Just do it. You do not need permission to take care of somebody else. Period. So, yeah, as far as people, I swear to God, being a prepper is almost like being homosexual or gay or lesbian, and I have nothing wrong with any of that. You're just scared to come out of the closet. I mean, fuck it. Do what you got to do. Be you. If you want to get into prepping, do it. Don't think about it. Don't make a plan. Don't write it down. Just fucking start doing it. It's really, really easy. It's simple. So, but as far as my rant on the art of prepping, I'm sure there's 10,000 things that I didn't say. Probably a whole bunch of questions. So we'll get into the questions, and if anybody wants to hop up here with me on the panel and answer some questions, just let me know, and we can make that work too. So if you did type a question while I was ranting, if you notice I was looking at the screen, not to chat a whole lot, retype it, because you guys know I pretty much hit the questions at the end. What? Go all Shia LaBeouf, or however you spell it, just do it. Yeah. You want to go full Hutch on the prepping part. Definitely go full Hutch on that. There you go, Stu. Yep. Permission. I do not need your permission to make sure you got something to eat. You're more than welcome to say thank you, 6 months down the road, but I don't need your permission to do that. And it's not that I'm doing it because I want to take care of you, maybe. I could just be doing it to make sure that you're eating. That way you are a resource. Whether you like me or not, whether you agree with what I'm doing or not, I can make you a resource. I can go Negan real quick, and it works. He's my favorite character. Negan's a shit. I don't plan on putting an iron on anybody's face or throwing you into a furnace or nothing like that. But just it is what it is. Farmer's son prepping. What's going on? 101. What's happening, brother? Let's see what we got here. Hey, Lynn, I saw on the I guess it was the last video we did yesterday. Was it the Daily Nugget yesterday, or was it the video I did with the shutting down the garden for the winter? Anyway, I saw on your comment there was a little like a sticker thing there, and it had a $5 thing. Is that the like I didn't know you could do super stickers in like comments. Like it was like a comment, and it wasn't a live stream, so I'm assuming it was the video about the container garden. Like I didn't know you could do that. So is that what happened? I mean, you can like donate money to somebody's channel just by watching a video. You can like it or do a sticker or something. I was tripping. I'm like, what is this? I've never seen it before. So I was just curious if that was you, because it said Lynn. What's up, Hutch? Talking from me, my brain hurts. Hey, trust me, I've been there, done that. Definitely been there and done that. Let's see what else we got here in the chat. What we got going on tonight? It's Wednesday night. Let's see. What Angry Pepper's live tonight, Amy? Doesn't he go at like 9 o'clock? I think maybe. Hey, Gemma. I'm gonna drop the link if anybody wants to come up here and chit chat for a little while. Now we might accidentally fall into a rabbit hole, but we're not gonna just go completely off track tonight. We're gonna try to keep it as close to the topic as possible. I just pinned it for you guys. Somebody wants to come up. So we can do like a small rabbit hole, but we're not going to make like a rabbit condo like we did last night. Bushido, what's going on, brother? Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Ava, what's going on? Those seeds should be ready to go out. I want to wait and get the last of the tomatoes that I'm murdering right now from the cold and bring those up and go ahead and get them dried and put in the kit. So within 2 weeks they should be out. That way you'll have some of these cold hardened tomato seeds to work with. Oh,
It's Ghetto, dude.
what's up? Oh yeah, I know. I saw you last night.
All right, I forgot my stuff even looked like that. How's it going, brother?
Hanging in there, man. I didn't know. I know you could change your name, but I didn't know you could change your picture too.
Yeah, I just took a screenshot of the chat we did the other night of him and kind of
Oh,
cropped it in there.
I feel you. I feel you. I
I
thought
forgot
he
all
did.
about it.
No,
No, he changed my name all the time. So this mother, thanks, dude. Even my wife calls it to me now. You
Gato.
know, yeah. And
My
I'm like,
bad.
well, shit, I can't even change my ghetto name because then nobody really would know me. It's like, fuck. No, you're good, dude. You guys know I got thick skin. Shit, I love making people laugh. I ain't tripping, even if it's on my own behalf. We
Yep,
all need
yep.
to laugh, you
That
know.
is true. That is true. That is definitely true.
I came up to, I mean, I mean, you made a perfect analogy. Don't get me wrong, but when you said prepping is like being gay, I mean, I think you made us all laugh on that one, dude.
I mean,
Just stay in the
it happened
fucking
that way.
closet. It's up to you.
Yeah, you prep inside the closet, prep outside the closet. It don't matter. Just prep.
Yeah, dude, I fucking loved it though.
You're not
I
gonna have that
did.
much room inside the closet, but you got to do what you got to do.
Hell yeah. No, I love the subject matter. I was like, man, the irony is you're on YouTube telling the world to keep it a secret. So it's
Yeah,
like, fuck.
that's the thing.
I'm
That's one of the reasons it took me years before I started a channel. I've been around for a long time. I've been in the chat for a long time under my real name. I mean, most of the guys that I know now, I was chatting in the chat with my real name, and they don't even know now that it's me on the channel. But the thing is, it was a hard thing to get over when I decided to do a channel and show my face. But it's like this: everything you buy at the grocery store, they got a record of it. They got cameras everywhere. If you go to the Walmart self checkout, they're logging everything you're getting, the quantity that you're getting in your face right there while you're swiping it. Every time you swipe your ATM card, and people are going, "Oh man, that's too much data to keep up with." No, it ain't. Look at Facebook. Look at Google. They're doing it right now.
yeah.
They're doing
We
it
have
right
our
now.
own block.
Yeah, they've
If you,
got enough server room. There is literally an algorithm that has been out for several years now, and it's working right now. An algorithm where they can literally predict where you're going to be a week from next Tuesday and what you're going to be doing based on your patterns that you have established in your life. They can tell you at what time of the day there's a good chance you're going to be pumping gas in your car. They can tell you at what time of the day there's a good chance you're going to go to the bar and have a beer. I mean, it's in this algorithm, and they track it by where you swipe your card, how you swipe your card, how you use it. Because 9 times out of 10, you're using it in the bar, you're using it in the gas station, you're using it at Walmart. Plus your phone is like a live feed of your movements throughout your entire life.
oh
So
yeah,
for people to say they can't look at an algorithm right now and know if you're prepping, yeah, they can. And but the one thing you won't see me doing is up here on camera is waving seed spreaders around. I'm not going to do that. It's nobody's business what's in my inventory. So the last thing I'm going to do is give some alphabet agency a photo record of all the stuff.
yeah. I've noticed that about you.
Right? I'm not flashing all my stuff. I'm not doing this and
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
I've noticed that about you.
I have a boat. Okay. I'm not going to have a boating accident. That's just, that's literally, that is literally motive. I mean, that is literally, that takes the whole circumstantial part out of the question in court. Okay. When you say, "Oh, I had a boating accident." Yeah. It's a
Fucking
funny
yeah,
story.
yeah.
Don't take it legit. I mean, don't take it for, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. That's why I don't even talk about that part of my prepping and all. I don't bring up one word. Even on backstage, I don't even talk about it. It's like, fuck it. It's none of your business. When it comes to security, that's my business, most definitely. Prepping, I
Yeah.
like talking about it and getting help and stuff like learning, educating. But on the security, yeah, fuck you. I've had that down since I was like 5.
Right. Yeah. Herbalist, your cell phone does listen to you and you can't turn it off. We talked about this the other night. People think, "Oh, just turn your phone off." Yeah, you can't turn your phone off. That's the whole reason why the battery's internal now, not external. Because when it was external, you could shut your phone down. Now you
Yeah,
can't even
once.
buy. Yeah, now you can't get a smartphone with an external battery. All your smartphones
Yeah.
batteries inside. You cannot get to the battery. You can't take it out because they don't want you to be able to shut down their microphones and their cameras. So yeah, yes, your phone's been
Yeah,
listening
they
to
need it.
you.
We're all just blocks. I mean, really, in the digital world, we're just each one of us are blocked and are blocks,
Yeah,
and we're just adding information. Even just walking down the street when your neighbor's ring doorbell or whatever catches you walking down the street, boom, they identify you and they throw you in their little block. That's
yeah.
it.
Night Milk Maid, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, I mean, so
I love how before I came up here, you said, no rabbit holes, maybe a little one, and then you're the one
little
that opened the
this
rabbit hole.
this is a tiny rabbit hole. This is like
I like that.
it's like a mouse hole. I like
Yeah.
the hole.
And if anybody doesn't know, well, regardless on your feelings about buying online, but Walmart is already doing Black Friday. It started today, at least in my area. That did. I imagine it's across the states, but that right there in two different aspects will should show people like, hey, they're running out of shit.
Oh
Get your
yeah,
shit now. You know what I mean? But on the other one, I'm telling you guys because get your shit now, so you don't have to. Dude, there's some killer ass deals on there.
but here's the
200
thing.
bucks,
Here's the thing.
55 bucks.
Christmas is so far from even being on my list. I mean, that is just another damn day. And
No, I get it.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
just actually one of the I I
I
legit hate the holidays. Not because I don't agree with what they stand for or there isn't hidden meanings to the holidays. I hate it because it is the biggest bullshit distraction on the planet. I mean, it
Yeah,
is literally a marketer's dream. I mean, it's all
yeah.
spin, 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 buy, buy, buy. Nothing but, I mean, for the next 2 months, all we're getting is car commercials. And if I see one more Mercedes with all the cars red and a Santa Claus
I
with
know.
one more
I
Mercedes commercial, I'm gonna lose my shit. That one and
know.
the polar bear Coca Cola commercial. Those are kind of cool because I like the little baby polar bear. He's cool, but I
Yeah,
mean it's nothing but diamond rings. If you don't get your wife a new diamond ring just because, then you're a failure as a husband and you suck at life. It's ridiculous,
yeah.
man. Like
Well, I'm definitely a failure. My wife ain't getting shit.
I don't do presents just because it's a day of the week and that's what society
Yeah,
says. We're gonna buy presents. Why?
most definitely.
Why?
Exactly.
Why? Why do I gotta buy presents for everybody?
Uh,
For one? No, it ain't gonna happen. I didn't even do it when I was a
I
kid. Man. I mean,
I've
when I
I've
had,
figured out at this point, 20 years into it, man, I figured out when my girl wants something, she'll either hint to it or say it, and then boom, I'll just get it the next week. I ain't gotta wait for no fucking holiday. You know what I
well,
mean? Like
if
you
you're
know your
married,
partner's needs by now. You know what I
right?
mean?
But there's a difference in a need and a want. You're gonna have
Yeah.
everything you need. If you're with me, you're gonna have everything you need.
That's exactly
Want.
how it is too, and she doesn't have the wants like that. So it's like, man, I love that she's not materialistic or anything like. My kids are the same way. Like
I
my
don't.
daughter just wants like art supplies, you know what I mean, so she can
Right.
better herself at art,
Well, it's like
stuff like that.
when I was married, and most people that are married, I mean, you've got a joint checking and savings account. If she wants something, she's gonna just go get it. I mean,
Do you
if
know how many people don't have that though, Ghost? It
I know,
fucking
true, true.
boggles my
But here's the
mind.
thing, though.
I
It's like if I needed a new seed spreader, I'm not gonna wait on her to get me one and hope that she gets the one
Yeah,
that I,
exactly,
you know what I mean?
exactly,
Get the one that I
exactly.
like. You know, I
I
mean,
got a lot of
it's the mainstream stores. It's the Kmart's and the Walmarts and the the car companies and they're. I mean, it's they've that people don't realize our entire American society would collapse if the cars went away. I mean,
yeah.
in the recession back in '08 and '09, I mean, who'd they bail out? All the car companies. Well, I think except for Mopar, I don't think Dodge took a penny, but they bailed out the automotive industry because Americans are so used to it's commonplace, it's culture. You're a failure as an American if you don't get a new car every 2 years to keep up with the neighbors.
Yeah.
It's like what? And then you got these
They
ridiculous car commercials where they're showing this awesome, badass pickup truck, and they're going, and you can for a limited time you can qualify for up to $17,500 cash back. And I'm like, wait a minute, hang on. All right, you're producing a product, and you can offer $17,500 cash back and still make a profit to stay in business. So
uh-huh.
exactly how overpriced is your shit that you can
Yeah, that's exactly what I asked you.
$7,000
Yeah.
and stay in business? So what you're saying is I've been raping the crap out of you for years. Buy more of my stuff. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. And right now they're trying to buy people's cars back specifically for the chips, dude. They're
Yeah.
trying to that's what I don't understand about all these nice cars, commercials and shit like that. They're gonna be stock. My brother-in-law works in a doesn't matter where he works, but in Oregon he works for a Cadillac dealer. And he's like, dude, they're all stock. There's no extra, you know what I mean? You know, it's Cadillac, so they got seat warmers. But I mean, there's a chip that goes in there just to warm your fucking seat.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? The shortage is real. So most of these things are fucking just stock shit straight from the dealership or straight
Yeah.
from the manufacturer. And
Yeah.
bug out, they actually did try to make it Black Friday racist. That was when Obama was in office. I remember their little campaign for it.
Mm,
Fucking idiots.
funny, man. I mean, and you realize that you can go out right now to a junkyard or somewhere, and you can literally buy a classic car. Say you get a '75 Chevy K10 four-wheel drive pickup truck. Say it's a K20, a heavy
Yeah.
duty four-wheel drive pickup truck. You get it for it's banged up, a little bit of rust, this and that and the other. It could be all rusted out. You probably get it for $6,000, $7,000 if it's in running condition. But here's the crazy part: you can take that to a garage. Hey, Susanna, you can take that. that banged up truck to a garage, or if you're good with your hands, you can do it yourself, and you can literally rebuild that truck from the ground up in your yard and get it back to pristine. I'm talking crate motor. I'm talking all brand new body parts. I'm talking
Hmm.
frame. You can do all that cheaper than you can go get a new truck today. And what you just did to that vehicle is going to hold value for decades to come. You go buy a new truck today, you lose 25% of the value as soon as you drive off the lot.
Yeah. I got a couple buddies that are doing that same exact thing as you're saying. It that's the best way. That's why they up the market at least around here, dude. Used cars are like 25,000 is the average.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it jumped like 2 to 3 times as much as it's. I mean, even the Kelly Blue Book around here fucking changed on shit.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
what
it's like,
the hell? Oh, well, it's a chip shortage.
yeah, it's like
You
my
know?
truck. I have an 86 K5, K10, 86 four
Oh,
wheel drive.
nice.
And now I can replace if I run into something and crunch a fender, I don't got to do bondo. I don't got to take it to a body shop. All I got to do is get my wrenches and my socket sets, and I can take the fender off.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can order a brand new fender, have it delivered to my house for about $75.
yeah,
All I got to do is, I mean, it's OEM stuff. All I got to do is prime it, paint it, and put it on the truck and bolt it up. And,
yeah.
it goes that way for every single part on the vehicle. So why in the world would I want? And it's metal. You run into my shit, I'm winning. Mine's metal. It has actually bumpers. It doesn't have plastic covering cardboard wrapped in a square.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's metal.
yeah, I do. I definitely do.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's yeah. I'm not buying. I mean, look at the cars nowadays. Back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, when you saw an accident on the highway, you'd see two crunched up cars. Maybe some fluid on the ground, some glass, stuff like that. Nowadays, if you see one of these new cars hit a squirrel crossing the road, car, the car is totaled. There's like 10,000 pieces of plastic, spread out over like 200 yards down the street. There's fire. I mean, it's then the entire car just explodes. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, hell no. Uh-uh.
The older we get, the more the world becomes artificial, dude. That's how I see it. From
Yep.
technology to our devices to our cars to everything you can literally think of. I mean, they've already measured fucking plastic is such a small particle in our air. You know what I mean? It's not even just affecting our ocean, it's actually affecting the air that we breathe in, that there's little tiny particles of plastic.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, if anything within our age that was a world destroyer, it would be plastic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's up,
Absolutely
Susanna?
everything. Hello,
Hey,
Susanna.
hey, Ghetto. How are you doing?
Doing
Good.
good.
Hey, G2.
Hello, everyone in chat.
There's the voice.
Such a soothing voice, man.
I know, right? It just makes me want to.
Yeah, she does too. My wife says the same thing, Susanna. Thank you. It's like a breath of fresh air. I like it.
Thank you. Tell her thank you.
Uh-huh.
I
G2's in the
was
house, everybody.
I was sleeping because now they have me on 2 antibiotics and it's kicking my ass.
I bet.
I
Oh,
have to go to the hospital in the morning. They literally just had yesterday. I was telling Roots. I don't know if she told you, but I had to go back. Yeah. The next
what was
day,
it for, Susanna? If you don't
well,
mind me asking.
no, the next day I woke up and had a big abscess
She got a
in
blood
From a
infection. She
on
got
my
a.
thigh.
She cut her
Uh-huh.
leg. She got an infection.
Yep.
oh, okay, like sepsis or some
And you
shit?
know what's
Like a
the kicker is it's it wasn't even the one I went for.
Oh wow.
It was
oh,
I ended up with an abscess in the side of my leg and on my thigh, and they had to cut it out, clean it out, and there's packing in the hole, right?
Oh great.
Right. But they said that, you know, obviously it's not as bad as what I was in the hospital for last time. And so there's that. I'm still alive, so I'm here.
That's crazy, Susanna. You killing me. Are you gonna be able to can this week?
Yeah, I'll find out by tomorrow,
Okay. Well,
hopefully.
can't. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal if you can't. I understand. I mean, don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, I woke up and I said, "Oh crap, I'm missing Ghost." And and I heard you guys talking and I was like, "I want all the things." Well, not really, but I
Yeah.
think people want things, but like you all were saying, need comes before want.
I mean, you
And
make sure your family has all their needs. Wants, that's a as is. That's a, if they come along, they come along. If they
Yeah.
don't, you know what I mean?
you're
Yeah.
right.
And I just, I'm all about the. I'm I'm literally born in the wrong century. I believe I would have flourished in the 1800s like nobody's business. This place where I'm at right now just doesn't even feel normal. I'm like on an alien planet.
Artificial, brother. Really is. That's why when you were saying if your kid's woke and stuff like that, I'm like, man, you failed miserably as a parent if your
Oh
kid
yeah,
is woke or anybody in your household is woke.
but man,
You
when
know
I
what I mean?
grew up, I remember my grandmother beating other people's kids in the grocery store with a cigarette in her mouth. Okay, and the other parents coming up and saying thank you. Right, that
Yeah.
was how you raised your kids. Like back in the day, it didn't matter whose kid was doing dumb shit. He was getting corrected. I mean, when I
Yeah.
learned in school, when I learned in middle school and high school was when the teachers were whooping my ass. I used to have to, man, I got held down by two football coaches so I could get out because I was whooping. I was like, nope, you ain't whipping me. And it took two of them to hold me down to beat me. And it was legal. It still
Yeah,
is.
they would need two for me. I never experienced that. I heard some friends in other schools had to deal with it. I'm like, man, fuck
Everything.
that. In my
And when
school,
I
shit.
when I could sit down again, I paid attention. I mean, it got the point across. But you know what? I'm not mad about it because I was doing some dumb shit. I deserved every single minute of it.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
I mean, I grew up with if you were a little kid, 6, 7, 8 years old doing dumb shit in the playground, it didn't matter which grown up got a hold of you first. I mean, it was just it was accepted, and I mean, I literally watched other kids' parents tell my grandma thank you for correcting their kids. I mean, come
Hmm.
on. And nowadays, I mean, you can't even look at somebody's kid sideways without getting a charge.
No,
I mean, come on.
Well, I still say it sometimes, and I don't care if they hear me. I'll be because they let their kids just run, and they'll just be like hitting everybody, and it's like, what is this? um, you know, I was I remember when my kids were younger, and we were sitting in a restaurant, and I actually had people come up to me and tell me, "Thank you. Your kids are so well behaved. They're not running around everywhere." And those parents were giving me dirty looks, the other parents,
hmm
because their kids were running around hitting everybody. And I didn't know what to think because there were so many people that already were raising their kids to just do whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I've had people even ask me, back when I was married and I had young kids, in the house and we were out in public, they would come up to me and they would be like, "My God, your kids are so well behaved." And they're like, I never beat my kids. I never had to because I didn't start being a parent when they were 9 and 10 years old. You know, I
There
didn't
you go.
Hmm.
start after they were big enough to get a mouth on them. I didn't start, I didn't try the whole I'm never going to spank my kids. I'm going to be gentle. They're going to have safe spaces.
Nope.
No, from day one, they learned that when the bass hits this voice, it's going to get real. It's
Nope.
you start from the beginning. You start from day one. I mean, just
From
because
soon as they come out the snatch.
absolutely
No offense,
dis-
Susanna.
discipline is not discipline is not violence. All right, there's a reason the
Mm.
two words are spelled differently. All right,
Yeah.
discipline is not violence. All right, those are two completely. Now you can discipline someone with violence, but that's an addition to the word. That's not what
Yeah.
discipline is. I mean, discipline to me is life lessons. It's teaching yourself, hey, I ain't doing this. This is wrong. There's consequences to my reaction to my actions. If I
Yeah.
equal and opposite shit, man. If I do this, there's a damn good chance this is gonna happen. Now, how many beers did I have when I made that decision? Or if my friends were watching and the peer pressure kicked in, I don't know. But I mean, if you raise your kids to with one angel on each shoulder, the good and the bad, and let them work the shit out, then I mean you're going to be fine. I mean, kids don't just come out naturally wanting to be a holy terror. They learn that from you because you let them get away with murder.
Yep.
Right. Well, I remember going to my kids one of their field days, and one of the other kids literally just plopped down on the ground and started rolling around and having a fit and pounding her fists all over the place. I'm surprised she didn't hurt herself. And the dad just stood there, got embarrassed and got red, and then walked away while the mom walked up and just let her. I don't know.
That's crazy.
I've, you know what is really crazy? Um, my husband was at work and he had a coworker one time who he was like, I don't know why I married this woman, but she does this to me. And I was like, is this how these kids are going to turn out? Because he showed him a video of his wife uh, throwing herself on the floor in the store in front of everyone because she couldn't get what she wanted.
Oh hell no! I'll be spanking her ass too.
Yeah, I was floored by that one. I didn't I yeah, I had no words for that.
Yeah, you begin to paddle into, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
I had to teach myself to be a parent. To be honest, just given my childhood, I had to figure that shit out on my own. Little increments from certain adult figures in my life, but for the most part, I had to figure this shit out. I've only had to whoop my kids once. They got the meaning of it. You know what I mean? And I too, Suzanne, I get those compliments, even by the neighborhood kid parents around here. They're like, "Man, how do you get your kid to just listen?" Because I'm like, first, the number one key that I've learned that was the best thing is you never whoop or punish your kids when you're angry. You
Oh,
calm your ass
Mhm.
down first, and then
Right.
you go at it. That was the main thing I always learned, because that's when I was getting my whoopings. You know what I mean? Like shit, they were pissed the fuck off, and they took it out on me. So I always told myself, just calm them down, let them know, and the fear aspect of, look, if I would have done what you just did when I was a kid, this is what would have happened. You'd be out there picking out a branch off the tree, and you'd have got your ass really beat. Because that was a hard one for me, having to pick my own
every
switch.
I believe that every house we moved to when I was growing up, every house we ever lived in, I believe one of the factors that had to be in the backyard when I was growing up was it had to have a willow tree, or my parents would move there. Because let me tell you something, that willow branch, boy,
I'd say the same thing, dude. My
man,
wife's got no idea what I'm talking about. I'm like, I'm telling you, they
every
strategically
house I
moved us
ever
here,
lived in
here,
had
here,
a
here.
every house I ever lived in had a willow tree. I don't know if they planted it like right when we got there or had it brought in or what. Every house.
The thin ones, thick ones, it don't matter. That shit hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
What I
does.
used to do, what I used to do with my kids, and I still even do it now, with family members' kids if I'm watching kids that are around, because it's still a hierarchy thing. It's if you do something stupid and you need your ass whipped, you don't do it right then. You gotta mess with the mind, and the best way to learn a lesson is to make a little scar or a little impression on their psyche. And you look at little Johnny or little Debbie, and you have the belt in your hand or the switch or your fists are balled up or whatever it is that floats your boat, and you, in a very calm, cool voice, as calm as you can be, it's go to your room. I'll be there in a minute, and you let them wait, whether it's 10
Oh
minutes
yeah.
or 5 hours. You let them contemplate what's fixing to happen, and then you get to run it through your mind, and you get to figure out, is it worth it if I go full hutch on them, or should I just let them sweat it out and then go in there and talk about it, and if they're at that age to where they can be treated like an adult, or have an adult conversation, then try that route. But when you're young,
Yeah.
you got to fire that ass up once or twice to get the point across, and they remember that shit.
Yeah, most definitely. Y'all think soap is bad?
Hey, Hutch.
What's going on now?
What's up, brother? Do I think soap is bad?
What's up, uglier than me? Yeah, so making a kid eat soap.
Now, I mean, now if you soap up your feet and then try to shove one of your feet in somebody's mouth,
There he goes. There he
right?
goes. It took him a half a fucking second.
See,
Nah,
you ever notice that like I show up all peaceful and happy and everything. I'm like, hey, what's going on? I love everybody. And then all the
you
shit
didn't
gets
address
going,
me.
and then it
You
gets
didn't address
blamed
me
on
at
me.
all.
You know what I
You
mean?
ignored me. I felt
So,
bad. I had to attack.
hey,
No, what?
Suzanne, Ghost, how you doing?
Uh-huh. No, what I meant, Ghost, was so I got chastised for my son. He's only lied to me once. He's only had to lie to me once. And I filled up his tongue with soap. I made him swish it around and spit it out. Now I was forced to eat that shit and swallow it and have the shits for the next day or two. But
I've had to do it before growing up. I really didn't have an issue with it. I mean, the green one, the Irish Spring, that's really not that bad. But I mean,
he said that's really not that bad.
I don't. That's to me, that's not a punishment. I mean, I've seen it on TV and in cartoons and stuff. I'll wash your mouth out with soap. Oh,
Yeah.
Uh, I,
I've literally had to do that probably 10 times growing up. You see how well it works.
yeah. I mean, does that mean I
yeah.
don't? I mean, does that mean I don't have to brush my teeth today? I mean, what do you feel that?
Yeah, I remember asking somebody, so are my teeth clean now too? But no, I see. I didn't make him swallow it though. I wasn't gonna let him go through the shits and all the other
Yeah.
stuff. I just made him swish it around, taste it, and then spit it out and rinse it out. And he learned his lesson from then. Shit, that was like a year ago.
Well, the thing is, too, a lot of parents mess up when they'll threaten their children with a certain trauma. If you do this, I'm going to do this, or you're going to be grounded for 2 weeks. And they do it, and you ground them for 2 weeks, but it lasts like literally a day and a half, and you let them off.
Yeah,
Now they know you're full of shit. All right,
Yep.
now
pretty
they know
much.
that 10% of whatever you threaten them with might it might actually take place. You know, that's where people make a lot of mistakes. I mean, if you put rules in place and you have guidelines and you have to stick to them, that's your responsibility. You know,
Yeah.
the easiest thing is if your kid has something they enjoy doing, like say playing football or basketball or baseball or whatever it is they enjoy doing on a weekly or even daily basis. If you let them know, hey, you know, this shit don't fly in this house. You do this, and you will never ride a horse again. You will never touch a basketball until you move out of this house. You know, things like that. Or if you got a big game coming up on Saturday, and it happened actually to one of my family members when I was growing up. I guess we were like 14 or 15, and he wasn't a family member; he was a neighbor. But his parents were super strict, and they were legit. And they told him flat out. His name was David. They told him flat out, you know, something happens. Long story short, we had a big game coming up on Friday, and he got to sit there in the stands and watch people play. We lost the game because he wasn't in the game. He was very, very good. He was a center. We're playing basketball. But his parents said, oh, we're still going. You just ain't playing. They let him wear his uniform and everything, but he sat right there in the bleachers with his family and watched us lose. And I was like, that lesson got learned, not only by him, but I learned that lesson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know,
I mean, the coach was begging his parents to let him play at halftime, the whole 9 yards. You're like, no, go away.
oh yeah. And you have to tell them too exactly what you mean, because if you use the wrong words, they get smart mouthed after a while.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
Yeah, that's what I'm going through now. I got the 16-year-old. He's like, oh, but you didn't say this one specific word. You like, you little son of, you know what I mean?
Man, yeah,
Yeah.
my daughter's
I
15.
remember
I'm going, yeah.
when I first started teaching, when I was first in school, you have to do observation hours. You know, you have to basically go to school, whether it's middle school, high school, elementary school, and hang out for hours a day for several weeks, and basically practice being a teacher. And I remember when I initially decided to be a teacher, I was going to be a high school teacher. Man, that lasted for legitimately the 3 days. And I went and I dropped classes. I said, nope, I ain't doing high school. You know, but here's the deal. And people laugh when I say this, but elementary school kids, they're still eating crayons. Okay. High school kids, 90% of them have already decided if they want to be a failure in life or if they want to just spit out babies and live off the system or you know, they've already decided 90% of what direction they're going to go in. In middle school, you can still kind of actually teach a lesson and touch somebody and you can see the response. You know, they're in that in between zone. You know, they're not too early and they're not too late. Because high school, man, I'm sitting in this classroom. This was in Florida. This was the 12th grade high school. And dude, this kid just opens up the door, walks into the class in the middle of class. He wasn't in the class. Walks over to one of the students, starts whispering in his ear, gets money, gives him drugs, turns around and leaves. And the teacher just completely ignored it. I watched it and I looked at her. And after things settled down and they were doing some work, I said, what was that? And she goes, you'll get used to it. I said, no, I ain't getting used to shit. She's like, no, that's just the way it is around here. You can't discipline them. You send them to the principal's office. They laugh at the whole 9 yards. They have a thing called it's called a drive-by diploma. The school that I was working at, their graduation rate was so low they were fixing to lose federal funding because the kids, legitimately, like 15% of the seniors were graduating the year before. So what they did this year when I was there, I was in a classroom. It was like 35 kids. There'd be 7 people in the classroom. I'm like, where the hell is everybody? She's like, oh, this is how it is. And I'm like, how can they plan on graduating and they're not coming to class? She goes, they don't have to. I'm like, what do you mean they don't have to? At the end of the year, what they do, the last week of school, all the kids that were enrolled can come in and take a test. If they pass it, they graduate. But here's the part. Nobody's failed the test yet. I mean, it's a rigged test. All they do is show up, they sign their name, they do a little answers, they doctor it, the system says they passed it, and they submit those grades to the state, showing that they have this awesome graduation rate when these kids can't even read and write. And it's accepted. And I remember I got approached by one of the kids in the class. He was a pretty big boy. And he just walked up and just for no reason decided he wanted to test me. And I ain't gonna say exactly what the words he said, but they were some sideways shit. And he was doing the whole flexing in my face the whole 9 yards, and I'm smiling. And he's doing the whole, I'm a badass, you ain't shit, I'll whoop your ass, Mr. So-and-so, this, that, and the other. And I was like, yeah. I said, but here's the thing. I leaned in real close. I said, he was talking about he was going to whoop my ass. I said, it ain't going to happen but once, son. One time. He said, you'll get fired, lay hands on me. I'm like, okay.
Right.
It'll be worth it. Don't worry. Yeah, I was like that kid. Yeah.
You lay hands.
For a job when I found this one.
What'd you say?
I said, shit, I was looking for a job when I found this one.
You get fired, touch me. Okay. And I mean, I don't ever want to be put in that situation, and I don't know if I ever actually would, but it's but I've seen some of them videos online, man. I've seen some of them brutal hits on some of these teachers. Oh yeah, I'm catching a charge, son. That's not part of the job description.
Yeah.
My job is to teach your kid how to read, write, and understand science. My job is not to teach your kid how to be a decent human being. You failed as a parent. Go back and start over.
Yeah.
The shit.
I was shocked. Sorry, Ghetto. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Ladies first, please.
I was shocked when one of my sons came to me and he was like, "Mom, thank you because I'm not like some of these kids today, and he's smart and I homeschooled them too, and what's funny is I wasn't exactly sure where they were at before I homeschooled them, and that's when I looked at my kids and went, wow, you're smarter than what the teachers think you are, because they had some pretty good teachers, but they had some really crappy teachers as well. So
Yeah.
I never really was for the whole pay all the teachers more because not all of them deserved it. And the ones that did, a lot of times didn't get the money that they should have gotten from the government or wherever it was coming from. And who knows where it was going. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bug Dude, that the no kid left behind idea, that is a great concept. It is a great idea. Problem with it is the people in charge, the elected officials in charge, i.e. school board, they read no kid left behind and they immediately interpreted it as we're just not going to fail any of them. We're going to push them on through.
Yep.
That's not what it means. That means step up your game as an educator and make sure they don't fall between the cracks. That doesn't mean shove them on to the next grade. And here's the thing: if your kid's getting advanced and they shouldn't be getting advanced, that means that the follow-on teacher has to spend more time with that specific kid, and it takes away from the rest. You
Yep.
got extra for one person, you're hurting the other 29 kids in the class.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that happen. I mean, I saw that happen,
I was
and yeah,
I
no,
was
I'm
a
done
product
talking.
of that. I was a product of that. Dude, eighth grade, man, is when I dropped out, but I made it to senior year. What they kept doing is, all right, you're good. Go to sophomore, go to senior, whatever. Till they were popping me in and out of vocationals, which again, I said this last night on Hutches. It's like, man, that shouldn't have been a punishment. That was my favorite school of all time. Fuck, I was learning welding, mechanics. You know what I mean? I was doing some good shit, but that was the last alternative school they could put me in. And it's like, man, this should have been the first school because I would have actually paid the fucking attention. The only reason I showed up to school was because whatever guardian I had at the time would have went to jail if I didn't, follow through with the um, heading showing up at class because the truancy bullshit. But other than
Truancy
that,
was
I
big
wasn't doing
back in the
nothing.
day. Truancy don't really mean a whole lot anymore. I will say though, we took our boy out to homeschool him last October,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we before we went and told the school, we had him at home for I don't know, probably 10 days, and then we got a new principal, so he showed up with the truancy officer out here, and I was basically like, hey, he's not coming back. You know what I mean? So we'll get around to the paperwork eventually. And then a couple days later, we finally went up and signed him out. But it's homeschooling it was easy as hell. I thought it was going to be more of a hassle, and I was going to get harassed and all kinds of stuff. It was here, sign this paper. It was
yep.
literally
No, they were pretty good about it with ours as well because a lot of people don't understand. Yeah, we got shitty teachers, but if you're a good parent, you don't want your kids around other people's fucking kids.
right.
The influence is real when you're that young and impressionable. You're gonna look at these other kids and follow. No matter, even if you raise a fucking leader, they're gonna end up following something with their peers.
I
It's
tell
just what
you,
we do growing up.
I want to make a comment on that. What you said, I have never, in all the years I've been dealing with teachers in different states and in different grade levels, I have never met a bad teacher. And what I mean by that is I've never met a teacher that it just is intentionally bad at their job. And because if you don't know how hard it is to get a teaching degree, bro, this
Yeah,
shit sucks. You've got to commit in this day and age to get a teaching degree. The problem is the school board and the system and the laws that are above and they trickle down and teachers don't get to choose what they teach anymore. They don't get to choose
yeah,
their plans. They don't get to choose what happens on what day. They get at the beginning of the year. You get a memo or a plan. You got to do this on these specific days, and you can't say those words. You can't say those words. It's like in the classroom. You can't say you put up your classroom, and you can't put up punishment. You're not allowed to use the word punishment. You have to use consequence. There are consequences
yeah,
for your actions, which that is true. But I'm like, yeah, but you can call it a consequence all you want to, but if he doesn't get to go on the fun field trip, that's a punishment. You know,
Hmm.
I don't want my child or my students to go, well, if I do this, there's a consequence. That's a make up. That's just a word. Punishment means some shit to some kids. I'm going to punish you. I'm not going to. Did I just consequence you, or did I just whip that ass?
yeah. I would love to agree with you on the teacher's point. I mean, have you ever?
Now they may get turned into bad teachers, but no teacher started out being bad. It's just like
Well,
politicians.
yeah, I agree they didn't start out. Yeah,
But once
but
you get
but have you
into
ever taught in a? Sorry, Ghost. Have you ever taught in a Have you ever taught in a blue state, low income place?
yeah, Title One schools are the only schools I work in. I want the bad kids. I want the bad schools. That's where I went.
Okay, because that's where I'm coming from when it comes to my teachers and the
All right. But
surrounding. It's
the thing
like,
is,
man, it was hard
oh
as
yeah,
hell for them to
oh
even
yeah,
teach any of us.
yeah. They started out good, but when you're in a system,
Yeah,
you don't get any support. You don't get any backup. The principals,
yeah,
the principals,
I
they won't back you up with disciplining your kids, and
I think though.
motivation is just gone.
I think
Yeah.
though that there may be some exceptions to that, only because when my daughter was in middle school, um, I went to a parent teacher conference, and hers was one of the very few schools of their schools that I did not go. I was not on the board or anything like that, and but I went to a parent teacher conference and I knew what was happening in the class because my daughter was telling me, this teacher is throwing things at the kids' heads. He almost hit one of them with a pair of scissors in the face. And, I was like, okay.
Yeah,
And
I'll
when
edit
we
that.
went, when I went in there, I gave him the benefit of the doubt at first. And for some reason she told him, my mom isn't gonna like this. She will come in and say something, because no parents were saying anything. Nobody was doing anything, nobody was addressing it at all. And the aide, he looked at her and said, "Don't leave, because I need you to stay here in case anything happens." And so what ended up happening was, I was like, well, don't you just had a baby daughter born just a few days ago, just only days old. What would you do if that happened to your child? And he just started shaking and getting weird, and he told the aide, go get somebody. And I said, no, stay here, because if anything happens, you have to be here to watch. The same thing with him. I'm telling you the same thing. And whatever happened in that whole meeting, I walked out and all the other teachers came out and clapped. And one of them came up to me and she said, "The principal wants a meeting with you right now." So I went into that meeting and she said, "Thank you." She said, "Nobody says anything. No, n- nobody's doing anything about it. Our hands are tied. We couldn't do anything about it." And I was like, whoa, I didn't know what to think at the time. A year later, that next year, um, he got caught molesting a little boy, and his
Holy.
and his wife works at the high school.
Yeah, I'll edit my previous comment, not saying that I don't think there's any bad teachers. I don't think anybody starts out wanting to be a bad teacher. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't
Yeah,
think anybody
that's a lot of
starts out
work.
a bad cop or wanting to be a bad politician. There's a point where people just break. And instead of changing careers, when you invested, 5, 6, 7 years of education to be a teacher, I mean, you invested 10% of your life. So you really don't want to change it or do it. Now, there could have been 1,000 different reasons why that person snapped. And trust me, I have met a bad teacher, but he wasn't a bad teacher. He was a good teacher. He was just a bad person. And my family, they almost brought up, assault charges on him for what he did to me in school. And it was as much my fault as it was his. But looking on the outside, they wanted to string him up. He was trying to paddle me. He was my football teacher. I'm my football coach. He was trying to paddle me. I told him no, it ain't gonna happen. And he called in help to come hold me down. It took him the entire class period, put it that way, to get me paddled. And when they held me down and they're trying to hold me still, and he's swinging back, obviously in the last 45 minutes, he's way more angrier than he was when this thing started. Okay, I'm very angry. So when he hit me and I'm moving, they're trying to hold me down and I'm trying to fight. When he hit me, he didn't get my ass. He got me on my lower back with that 2x6 paddle that he had custom made in wood shop, and he got me in my lower back. And bro, it was bad. I mean, it cut me. He caught me with the edge. It literally cut me. I was bleeding, but he caught me with the edge of it, and I couldn't feel my legs for about 10 or 15 seconds. I got like a stinger in my spine. It was a brutal hit. It was like somebody hit me with a damn lead pipe. And the thing was, I was supposed to be getting 3 licks. I only got one because he immediately froze. He knew he fucked up. I was like, it hurt so bad I couldn't cry, son. I was numb, but it was bad. And like legit, like my parents went freaking ape shit. The school board was involved. It was a big deal. Now we're talking. This was back in the early '80s, so corporal punishment is a thing in North Carolina. But I mean, and it's like I mean, they had bad. My dad was going to kill him, and it's like I was mad at him. I was mad at the situation. I wasn't really mad at him because it was just as much my fault as it was his. I made him freak out and go red, and I was completely in the wrong. But looking at it I mean, I basically forced him to break the law and do something that he normally wouldn't have done. So it was like it was a weird situation, and I can see it. And this was in the '80s when people still respected teachers. Imagine how much shit they got to put up with now. So it's like,
oh yeah. I agree with that as well.
yes, I think it's there are bad people in every walk of life. They're bad cops, they're bad politicians, they're bad parents, there's bad everything. But the messed up part was nobody was born that way. You weren't. I don't think you're just born to be bad. I think it's your external. It's a bad upbringing, your environment, the way things slip, the way you get away with stuff. It just, people
it's all about the environment.
Yeah, people are born with the ability. You've got a certain gene in your body to be a shithead, and if that gene gets switched on and it gets to grow, it's going to move on from there.
Pretty much. What tripped me out as an adult is when they started talking about all these school shootings and like the videos you were talking about, teachers getting their ass whooped, and I'm like, man, I can count on a couple of hands how many times, you know what I mean? I witnessed a shooting in my own school, you know what I mean? Like they were, I mean, not to throw the ghetto card, but they were doing that shit for years. You know what I mean? In the schools that I was familiar with. So it's like, well, why is it a problem now? I mean,
Bro, we had a hunter safety course in my class. I would bring my shotgun to school.
Yeah, see, we didn't do that shit.
Rack in my pickup in the parking lot at school. We would do target practice in class. We would shoot arrows in class. We had an archery class. We would compete.
Yeah, we did have archery. I remember.
I used to keep my 22 in my locker for a while.
Fuck yeah! See, that's definitely wasn't going on around here. I wish they would have. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's definitely something we should have used.
There would never be a school shooting at my high school because he would. I mean, dude, it would have been a shootout, not a shooting.
Yeah.
Not a shooting. It would have been a shootout, and it would have been, bro. I mean, that's like drawing down at a police station. You're stupid because people there are armed. I mean, the high school I went to, we used to drink moonshine at lunch. I mean, we used to sell pot in horticulture class in the greenhouse when we were setting up to grow tomato plants to sell. We had a little 6-pack. The 2 in the back was weed. We were growing weed.
Yeah, I remember horticulture. Yeah, we were making guns. We were making fucking homemade guns in welding class. We had an old school this old Greek guy was, I mean, didn't matter that he was old, but he was like, 70, 80. He didn't care. He was just like, here, go make this. And he would give us all the tools. Fucking me and the Russians are back there like, all right, we got to do it like this. We got like, you gonna bring the shells tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, I got you, man. Oh, dude, that was a fucking blast. No pun intended.
Dude, I remember my wood shop teacher, Mr. Dills was his name. He had this old beat up Dodge van, big red van. I still remember it to this day. But he had probably one of the biggest coolers you can get. I mean, it had to be 2 people to carry it because one person couldn't reach from end to end to grab the handle. That's how long this cooler was. It was massive. You could put a body in this thing, and he kept it full of beer on ice. And after class on Fridays, we just hang out and we drink beer. And when we played, we were legitimately be playing with power tools in the shop class, drinking beer with the teacher.
Oh, hell yeah!
Still got all the fingers. We're good.
Y'all are making me more pissed off about my childhood, man. I grew up in the wrong part of the country.
Oh, bro, we had a smoke hole. We had a covered concrete platform outside in between all the buildings where you can go smoke with your teacher. Like for real. I used to hang out. I'd smoke with my teachers, drink with my teachers. Yes.
Yeah, we had smoking spots. It just couldn't be on school grounds, so it'd be across the street at the bus stop. But other than that, man,
we had one in the schoolyard with ashtrays, with trash cans, with benches covered. If it was raining, you go hang out and smoke with class. There wasn't no smoking in the boys' room. Just go smoke wherever you want. But this
See,
is
now
no.
look what you guys did to our world, though. See, now
Yeah.
you guys are all grown up and you're all fucking us up into
I mean,
politics and shit.
it's- did y'all hear what I said earlier about the mayor of the town closest to me?
Uh-uh.
When
No, I
the
didn't
mayor
hear.
had an election last night in the small town that's closest to where I live. I won't say the name of it, but we had a mayoral election last night as well. And the guy that won, guess how many votes he had? The winning number of votes,
25.
85 votes, and he won the mayor.
What
That
the
was
hell?
Oh well.
85 votes. The guy that lost came in second place. He had like 36 or 38 votes. That's that. Yeah. If you live in a town where you can win the election as mayor with less than 100 votes, that's a good town.
See, I've been thinking about that. Like, once we get a little bit more established here, like, I'm thinking jumping on that city council, or you know what I mean, working. Like, I don't want to be sheriff or no shit like that, but you know what I mean.
That's what I saw in the elections too, because there were city council seats up and they were winning the election with like 26 votes, 31 votes. I'm like, wait a minute, dude, I can scare 30 something people into voting for me.
Right.
Like, dude, I can go to Walmart and I got this shit on lock. You know what I mean? It's like
Local elections, man. That's where it's at. That's how we take our country back without violence. If y'all are up for that kind of thing, just saying.
looking at like the elections last night with the mayors up in Jersey and Virginia. I mean, it was like the numbers were so low. I'm like, dude, that's all the people that voted, really? But the entire nation.
In Nixon, Missouri, over the summer, they had enough people get together and do a petition to recall the mayor. So I think this week, I think it's coming up for a vote, is that they had enough people to get him fired because he locked the town down. You know what I mean? So stuff like that's happening in small town America. I think there's not even 5,000-6,000 people in that town, you know, somewhere in that range. So it's,
yeah.
Things are happening out there. It's just, you know, a slow process.
On a smaller local level. So that's the thing.
And
you get all the counties to do it local, right? And then that's when you reach up to the state level to do something. Because I mean, how would that work out? Sorry, Ghost, for cutting you off, but how would it work out to take back our country if we're doing it in small pockets and then it just builds up to the state level?
Yeah, you got to take care of your state. If your state ain't right, then you ain't going to be right. Like Missouri and a couple other states, you know, they're pretty much like. So there's not a lot that we have to worry about. You know what I mean? Compared to like California, that's what it has to be. You guys got to take over your city councils. You got to take over your judge, vote for your judges, your mayors. You know, all that little shit. Even the corner vote counts. You know what I mean? All that local shit matters. It means what federal election don't mean a damn thing because it doesn't affect your daily life. Your city council and your mayor affect your daily life.
I'll say it again. The most powerful elected official anywhere on the planet, in the United States of America, is your county sheriff. Because
I definitely agree with that.
The county sheriff swears an oath to the Constitution. He does not swear an oath to an establishment. He does not swear an oath to the police department. Your county sheriff has got more jack than you can possibly imagine. The county sheriff can tell a federal agent to get the fuck out. And they clear out. I mean, there's recorded instances over the last several years of county sheriffs telling FBI agents they better get to the airport fast and get the fuck out of their county and don't ever come back. They're in the middle of an investigation, and they got no recourse. I mean, they legit. If the county sheriff tells you to get, you gotta get.
Yep.
So just in that area, the sheriff would supersede federal shit like marshals and FBI and all that, just in the sheriff's area, or what?
Federal law,
county.
Yeah, federal law has no precedent in the county. If the county sheriff says you can grow as much weed as you want to grow, we made it legal. Even though it's illegal on the federal grounds, the feds can't do shit to you in that county.
Okay.
It's like, I mean, it can be illegal, federal, it can be illegal, but in the county, it's legal. It's good.
As long as the sheriff, see, y'all educating, I appreciate it.
But
I don't know the politics of all of it.
No, the sheriff doesn't really have jurisdiction inside of city limits, though. Once you get inside the police thing, so it's more of a rural justice kind of thing.
It doesn't have jurisdiction, but and here's the thing: there's still a gray area there, because if you've got a corrupt police department or corrupt uh, police officers, you go to the sheriff, and if you complain to the sheriff in that city and those officers are serving inside the county limits, even though it's this little autonomous zone, if you can show enough proof and enough issues to get a warrant, the sheriffs will roll up in there and arrest every badge in that police department. So they will.
Yeah. I've seen that happen actually.
Yeah. That if you ever got problem with law, and it's a municipality like a city or something like that, you go to the sheriff.
Yeah, that's mostly what we have out here is sheriffs.
And
we don't have city
the
cops.
sheriffs love that shit because the city cops always dog the county sheriffs and shit. So when the sheriffs can get a bone, man, they love that shit.
So rank wise, where do the state troopers come into play? I mean, sheriffs obviously supersedes all that in their own county.
That's state government.
So it's still kind of federal or just almost federal? I mean,
No,
it's state, obviously, but
it's at the state level. And they got that. Your state police, your highway patrol, they're there for mainly the highways. I mean, they do
interstates and
like that, but they don't really get into a whole lot of murder investigations, drug deals, and stuff like that unless it takes place on the highways. But as far as the cat that you don't want to piss off, that's the sheriff's son, because the sheriff's got some cat. They just don't know it. If sheriffs realized how much juice they have, and they could all agree,
they know it. Yeah,
the federal
they know it around here.
Yeah, and the sheriff, bro, you piss the sheriff off, he'll come out there with the Bible and he'll deputize every motherfucker.
yeah.
I'm telling you, he can roll up into the he can roll up to the militia. He can go out to a militia camp out, hang out, whatever. And if there's shit getting sideways, he can deputize the militia. Yeah, come on, big boy. He can deputize. Now, I wouldn't legit say everybody or anybody, but the sheriff can do.
He's got the authority over a lot. Huh.
And that brings up something else too. It's kind of a thorn in my side with the Second Amendment. I believe, and some people may disagree with me. I mean, that's your fact. But if you break the law, or you go to jail, you go to prison, say it was for, I don't know, anything, and you should not, when you're released, you should immediately be reinstated your rights to protect yourself with a firearm, and you should immediately have your right to vote back again. I mean, if you're not a member of society, then why? I mean, if you did your job, you should have your voting rights, and you should have your Second Amendment rights back immediately.
That's the same thing my cousin's fighting right now. He's actually probably listening to us talk right now. He's down in California, and he is the same exact situation. As soon as you get let out, and this was 20 years ago when he got out, and he's still not allowed to have any of his fucking rights. You know what I mean? Like once you, and he's a contributing member to society now. You know what I mean? He's got his own shit together.
But that's the thing. I mean, you have the right to bear arms to protect yourself. So just because you messed up and broke the law, you did your time, you got out, your rights should be immediately reinstated. The only way I would say maybe not would be in a situation to where you used a firearm and you did something stupid with that firearm, like say armed robbery or a bank robbery.
Yeah.
If you went in with a firearm, threatening somebody's life with a firearm, no, you should not get that right back. But if you
think though? But at all?
But if you're safe enough to be let back out, then you're safe.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you're safe. But let's say 20 years went by.
I could go both ways on it. If you made that mistake at a young age and you were just stupid and impressionable, or if you were the getaway driver and had a weapon in the vehicle, fine. But if you legitimately went out with the intention to do bodily harm to somebody with a firearm and you legit pulled the trigger and say you just wounded them and honestly, I can get behind that. Well, you will never carry a firearm again because you use that as a tool to do damage. It's different if you got arrested for a DUI, your third DUI, and you had to pull a couple years in jail. There wasn't a firearm, it wasn't a violent crime unless you drove the vehicle, through a pack of kids. Then that's a whole different story.
There's a thorn in my side right there. DUI should be automatically felony. First offense. I don't give a fuck.
Well, when the government stops using laws and tickets as a way to make money, then that's a relevant conversation. I mean, here's the deal. Texting and driving is probably one of the most dangerous things there is right now. So please tell me, if you're so concerned about texting and driving, why is it like a $400 ticket? Why isn't it?
Yeah,
Why isn't it? Why
exactly.
isn't it? Why isn't it first time offense, $10,000 fine, 90 days in jail immediately? It starts right then, right there. There is no judge. There is no arraignment. You're guilty. Boom. Here's your ticket. You know, it's a $10,000 fine, 30, 60, 90 days in jail for your first conviction. Boom. You know, make it expensive. You know, and let me tell you something. Motherfuckers will be putting their phone in the trunk before they even get in the car. You know, but then they're going to
But
lose all
see,
that money.
on the same thing though, it's like the seatbelt thing. It's not hard for those car manufacturers to put some kind of deal in there that kills your signal, so you cannot use your phone, and that automatically will not start if you don't put your seatbelt on. See, there's things in there.
Yes.
They just want.
Oh, that has actually been made. Somebody invented that, but the problem came up. Well, what about the other people in the car that they want to use their phone? They want to read a book or they want to watch a movie on Netflix, and there was a fight against that. They're like, well, but yeah, yeah. You can think
Then
that
just
they're like,
install it in the driver's seat.
yeah, that's what I
Right.
was thinking. Have it like a limited shutdown installed in the driver's seat. But then you've got states that where if they see you with a device in your hand, it doesn't even have to be on. If they see it in your hand, boom, you're guilty. You know
Yeah.
But
what I
see,
mean?
then you got the thing though. If you're looking at your GPS or following a map or something, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom's dude, he's got a brand new Ford F-150 or whatever, and he's got all his music, hooked up into his thing. And as soon as his car turns on, everything turns off. The videos, the everything, and it's just the
Yeah.
straight music. Once you
That's the way
click
my
the key
car was.
back, all the videos came back on. And so I mean they have the features, you just gotta pay the extra money in them fucking
Yeah.
vehicles
Well, I mean,
to help
but the
you with it.
last newer car I had was a '06 Cadillac STS. It was badass. It was the STSV,
Nice.
that big motor.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
yeah,
it had the same thing. I had the big screen in the front, and I had GPS. I could watch movies, DVDs, what I wanted. But as soon as I turned the key, and the car went in, as soon as it went into drive, not when it would still work when the engine was running, but when the car went into gear, everything turned off except the GPS screen. Now the problem was with GPS screen, you had to program in your location while the car was in park. You couldn't do it while it was in drive. You couldn't adjust it while it was in drive the whole 9 yards. You had to pull over and do it while it was in park, and then you could go. But you couldn't interact with any of the screen while the car was driving, which was it was good and bad because maybe the passenger wanted to put in the new, because the computer doesn't know if it's the passenger's finger or the driver's. So with all this technology, there's all these freaking gray areas, man. And then, I mean, the bottom line is just the ticket. I mean, look at how much money they're making on people texting and driving with the tickets when they could just say, you know what, make it a $10,000 fine, 30 days in jail immediately, first offense. And look at how many people put their shit in the trunk before they get in the car. You know what I mean? You have to worry about it. If I see you with it in your hand, it's in the trunk. I'm not going to do it.
yeah.
But that's not what the machine wants. The machine wants that money, man. They want that income. They want it to be expensive, but they want it to be cheap enough to where people still take a chance and do it.
Right.
Yeah,
Just cheap, just like $50 less than a lawyer, just so they know you'll pay it. Just get it over with.
Yep. I mean, the only good thing now is this stuff is voice activated. Nowadays it's 2021, almost 2022. Most of it's voice activated. I mean, you can get your phone the whole 9 yards. You can lay it down, talk to it, and tell it what to do, and it'll do it for you and talk to you. So you ain't really got to pick it up. But
that's what they want.
Terminator days.
That's what's
Terminator
crazy.
days.
That's exactly what they want.
Yeah.
Skynet, man. It's Skynet. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning and tell your alarm clock to start the coffee. Then you go in and tell your refrigerator to start your car and shit. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Not in this house. Fuck that. I'm too scared of them motherfuckers. Our cell phone's the only one we can talk to.
You go to Home Depot or Lowe's and spend $7,000 on a refrigerator that has a built-in computer in the door. I'm like, what?
Dude, it orders your fucking food from Amazon for you. It's like, what the fuck?
You can set that refrigerator certain settings on where you place the stuff, and you can put a standing order in it to when it gets low, it will order the shit to fill it back up for you.
Yeah. Like, hell no.
You have to order your own food. I mean, the refrigerator costs more than some people's houses.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm telling people, man, the Facebook metaverse is going to be a very real thing. People are not going to have to leave ever. They're going to have everything set to automatically repurchase. Automatically, man.
Well,
It goes
Amazon
deep.
sent out like a month ago. Sorry, Ghetto, but Amazon about a month ago. Remember we were talking about it before. Sent out a thing saying sign up to get. All you have to do is wave your palm and pay
Yeah, the
for it.
palm scanner, yes, $10. They're paying people $10. No computer chips, no nothing, just your own unique hand print
Dude,
or
let
palm print.
yeah. It's man, I swear, it's people are so gullible.
They're fucking lazy, is how I see it.
To
We've
be,
devolved with
to
technology.
Right.
be the
See,
most
that's what you got to look at. Everybody wants a future with robot butlers and shit, but imagine how lazy the country's going to get to be able to advance
Wall-E.
at that point. You know what I mean?
Wall-E. The
Because then
perfect
you look
movie
at
for everything.
like
Wall-E.
whenever we first saw the self checkout things, I was like, hell yeah, I don't have to people. Let me do this, and you know what I mean. And it's just
Dude,
everything from there is just programmed to make us
shit.
lazy.
We've been getting our groceries 50% off since we've had them motherfucking self checkouts. I'm not gonna fucking lie. Shit.
You see
Make me pay for
everything
groceries, motherfucker.
now. You know what I mean, you can get your hobbies in a subscription box. You can get your food in a subscription. You literally never have to get off your chair again in your life. You know, it's ridiculous.
That'd be the goal. That would
Wait
definitely be the goal.
start putting the wait till they start implanting the computer chips in your brain. So where when you need to learn something, you can just download it straight to your brain. Like say you want to learn to speak Spanish, you'll be able
Neuralink, brother.
to just download it and you'll be able to speak Spanish. I mean, to
They
be the most
just
intelligent creatures that ever lived on the planet, we are literally going in the reverse direction of evolution. We are de-evolving
yes.
right now. We are de-evolving right now.
Yeah.
It,
Publicly they just did that with a lady with clinical depression. They were able to implant a fucking computer chip into her little serotonin, whatever the hell is that up there, and it fucking basically it corrected everything that was wrong with her with the depression shit. It's like, man, fuck that. But
it's
one of the it is, but one of the reasons, even though I know you didn't want the black or the rabbit holes, one of the reasons why I came up was I was actually getting your opinion on when you so you got the woke people that you I mean it's clear the people you don't want to tell, right? But you do have those people that you kind of want to spark the relationship, the conversation up with. I'd like you to touch on that a little bit. Like, how would you go about vetting people? And I'll tell you kind of how I do it. Not really vet, but more or less, I'm making sure the person that I'm talking to has an ample amount of things I don't have and I can't obtain because it's just too much money for me right now. So I want to get them into a situation where it's like, look, dude, shit hits fan. I got food, you got gun. Okay, you know what I mean? What would you do to vet somebody? Is basically my question, though.
all right. I can answer this a couple different ways. Number one, if there's somebody in my area, so to speak, that I know he has resources and supplies, things I might want, things that might come in handy, somebody I might wanted to bring into the mag. Number one, you got to vet them. And the best way to do that is get them drunk.
Yeah.
For real. Whether it's at a bonfire, at a strip club, wherever it is, get them wasted. That's when the truth comes out. That's when you know if you can trust them, motherfucker. Bottom line. Get them freaking drunk. I ain't kicking it with nobody until I've had them wasted and we sit around and talk shit about each other. That's when you realize who's who and what's what. I mean, perfect example of vetting somebody. All right, everybody knows that Native and I live close to each other. But here's the thing: I've known Native for almost a year now, and I was giving him a fake location where I live. I was giving YouTube a fake location where I live. He was doing the same thing. It came to the rabbits. Zah won the drawing. She wanted to give him the Native. I knew he lived, remotely close to it. So but the information he gave me where he lived, I figured he lived, about 100 miles away, within a couple hours. And the same thing with me. So we're doing these cities that are close to us to meet up to do these rabbits. And I finally got tired of waiting. And I'm like, dude, I'm not meeting. I said, here's my address. Just come get the damn rabbits. And I invited him to the house, bottom line, because we've been going back and forth. And he'd said a few things, I'd said a few things, and we both knew we were freaking lying. And I'm like, come here and get it. I know. Shut up at my house, smile on his face. And yeah, we live very close to each other. But the whole time we're just doing this dance around, back and forth thing, feeling each other out. And I mean, that's kind of like what you got to do. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
See, that's what
Because that's why you knew you trusted him.
I was wanting to make a video on that. Is like you've got to actually invest some time in people and see their movements and their facial expressions. You know what I mean? Just all those little things that you got to actually see during just random moments in life to make you know what kind of person they are.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell by the way people act. You know what I mean? Eye contact is a big thing. You know, eye contact is a big thing. Body language is a big thing. I mean, it's like I got one neighbor here. He's a freaking jackass. He's the first one that's getting removed from the equation if something goes stupid. You know, but he's also an asset because he's got a lot of cool shit. Feel me?
Yeah.
I mean, so either you and your stuff can be in the mag, or just your stuff can be in the mag.
That's how I built it. Like, dude, you got a truck and a boat? All right. Come here, let's get drunk. That's kind of I was laughing when you said get them drunk. I was like, man, I did that to a couple people.
Yeah, that's when the truth comes out, man. Get them wasted, and they're gonna brag on dumb shit, or they're just, you know, and it's, dude, and the ones that you worry about are the ones that approach you about shit. If you approach me about stuff, you're automatically that's a fucking red light right there, because now you obviously know something and you're aggressive about it. So you're actively recruiting. And people have asked me about building a mag, this, and the other. I am not building a mag. And after the balloon goes up, where from a couple weeks after everything goes to shit, then I'll put a mag together, because I want the ones that know how to survive. I don't want. It's like picking a football team. You know, when you're in school and you had the two captains, and you get to pick people to play on your team just because this one's big, that one's big. Let them play the game. I want to pick who's left over. You know, I'm gonna pick the winners. That's my mag. The ones that know how to do stuff. Not the ones that tell me they know how to do stuff, but I want the ones that actually can go out there and get it done.
That's a perfect way of putting it.
Yeah,
I have to admit, Ghost, I've done the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a lot. It has a lot to do with how I met my husband, because his family is really bad. And I told him once, I said, you know, that's how I vetted him. I'm not gonna lie. But they were doing some awful stuff, and I was like, let me tell you. And they were treating him really bad. And I told him the same thing. I said, you know, pretend like you're getting drunk with them, and then I want you to, you know, see what they're doing, see what they're saying.
Yeah, Flintstone Girl. We have actually talked about doing a meetup. Actually, me, Tribe, Ghost, Bevan Plummer, Cherokee, you know, a lot of the Carolina people. We have actually talked about doing a meeting or meeting up. But here's the thing with the meetups too. Okay. And I don't want it to sound, you know, bad or weird, but you know, I love all my subs, all the members, all you guys that we chat with, this, and that, and the other. But you know what? Bottom line, there might be some shit about Hutch I don't want to have nothing to fucking do with. There might be some shit about Ghetto I don't want nothing to do with. And the same thing about Atlanta. So, you know, we are legit living in a fantasy, you know, black screen world right now. Everybody can be whoever they say they want to be on this screen. But that's right. I know Tribe. I trust Tribe. I know Native very well. Trust Native and Devout and Lady Rowan. Have met them all. But there's a good chance, I got lucky on that deal. There's a good chance that if I did this meetup and 40 or 50 people show up from the community, there's a real good chance that 25 to 30 of those people show up, I'm never going to want to talk to again on this platform, because they're going to ruin that fantasy. They're going to come out there and show their true faces. Now, it doesn't mean that they're wrong and I'm right. It just means that there are a lot of people in the world that I'm not meant to get along with, you know. And on here, I can just kind of get along with everybody. I can be me, you know. Everything you're seeing right now, people, this might all be fake. I might live above a Starbucks, wear skinny jeans, and drive a Prius. You don't know.
This motherfucker's wearing tights right now. I'm telling you, he's wearing tights.
You got the yoga pants on. Women's rocking.
I think people in our community really need to realize that there's preppers that prep preppers, if that makes sense, people.
Yes.
They're not going to buy the shit. They're going to find out where you hide your shit, and they're going to go take that shit. No matter how many guns you got, they're prepping you. And you know what I mean, specifically.
I agree with
on that Doomsday Prepper show. There's a couple people here in Missouri that say they were bragging about how anti-gun they are, and they're just going to welcome people in and share it. That shit is marked on my map. I'm going to that place.
The Madrid, the ones that were worried about the Madrid fault line going off or some shit like that, right? The older people.
Well, yeah, those ones. And then there was a dude about my age and a guy a little bit older that they were kind of tag teaming and having like an aquaponics war and shit.
Yeah.
Right.
That shit blew my mind, especially that one lady and her husband while they're sitting there laughing. Yeah, while most of you guys are dying, we're going to be eating good. I'm like, bitch, you just showed everybody where you worked.
Right.
I'm like, you stupid motherfucker.
You know, it's I mean, and here's the thing too. I mean, like I said before, I've been around the community for years. I've been on the YouTube community for years, but I lived in the chat. I lived watching the videos. I didn't do live streams. I didn't have my own channel. I was just part of the community, but without investing in the community until last February. So here's the thing. In that time, because I was here before it blew up. I was here before the pandemic and all that good stuff. And I've seen all of these fakes show up, and I'm not going to name drop anything, but I've seen people come in here and do it as a money-making gimmick. I've seen people come in here from other professions and just overnight, change their channel name. I've seen it. There are people in this community right now that you watch on a weekly basis, something prepper something survival, that used to be, selling Avon, not dogging on women that sell Avon, but I'm saying it came from a completely different channel, and they just changed their name and went and bought camouflage shirt and hats and became a prepper and started spitting knowledge. There are hundreds of them in here right now in this community. Not saying they're in this chat, but they're in the community right now, and it's all a game. They watch somebody else's video, they change the word, they retool it, and they sell it as their own product.
Right. I've seen that happen over and over again, and not necessarily in this community, because I do have another profile, because I used to do journaling videos and stuff. So I was part of other communities as well before I even found this community.
Right.
And, you see that everywhere.
Yeah, but there's some big names out there that don't even prep. I'm telling you right now, and Hutch knows a couple ones of them. There are some big names out there right now paid from this community that don't prep at all.
Pandering like a mother. I'm just saying. Watch the fine details, y'all. Watch the fine details.
It's pretty easy. They sell themselves out. I mean, it's legit.
I feel like y'all are calling me out and shit. That's kind of.
You ain't even made a video.
I know.
Yeah, you're not fake. You're just weak.
Right. Right.
So I wanted you to throw Bug Out Bushido's comment up top, because it pertains to what we were talking about earlier. He was saying you want your mag for the first. I wanted you to throw Bug Out Bushido's comment. We got Echo Appalachia. Pertains to what we were talking.
How long ago did he post it? Oh, there it is. Wait a minute. Damn it.
Because I can see it on both sides, on your side and his side. I think it depends on the actual shit hits the fan situation.
Right here.
And you got to look too. Yeah. Just because somebody's prepping doesn't mean they believe the same stuff you do. There's a lot of preppers that want you dead just based on ideology. So remember that shit too.
Oh, you know what I mean? Hell yeah.
And for that comment right there, I can agree with you on for a certain extent, Bug Out. But here's the thing: my first prep that I made moving to a strange city or town or area of the country that I'd never been to before, and I moved here cold turkey just as a prep. My first prep was to survive without a mag until I can pick and choose the members. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to go out and just recruit people in the neighborhood to do a job that I want them to do. I want to see. It's kind of my first prep is to make sure I can do the 72 hours. I can do the 30, 60, 90 days on my own. And then see and I want to let the cream rise to the top, so to speak. I don't want to have to go out because here's the thing: if you go out and you are actively recruiting for a mag, say in your area or even from this community, there are going to be aspects of people that you don't know that you don't trust. That people can talk a good game, man. I mean, people can talk a real good game, and it's like, and Backwoods has said it a couple times. You know, when him and the guys in his little clique they meet up to do training, nobody shows up. You know, and if they do show up, they kind of half-ass it. But when something comes down and they're like, "Get your shit, meet us here," then you get 2, 3 people show up. Everybody wants to go out in the woods and play paintball. You know what I mean? It's fun, it's cool, it's a game, but I have trust issues, bro. To be honest with you, that's why I'm gonna say that. You know,
and you got to look at it too. I've seen the biggest dude, like dudes that make me look tiny as shit, back down and be, you know, zero heart. You know what I mean? So appearance don't mean shit. Everybody's stuck on this. They want this this glorified soldier image whenever they think of a mag and shit, and that's not how it works. You know what I mean? The tiniest dude can whoop the biggest dude's ass. You know, and it you know, you got to actually invest time with people because appearances don't mean a damn thing.
Yeah.
The tiniest reaction and shit. Like I would trust Ghost to go into battle with, but if Ghost has got to take a shit right when that battle's starting, I might not trust him because he's gonna be worried about holding his booty cheeks closed. And
you don't want to wait till you're in the shit to find out who's gonna buckle.
You know, here's the thing too, and you've got where science and biology kick in. If you're talking about somebody that has, you know, been to combat or seen combat or has been shot at before, has done the thing, that's somebody whose body has already been trained, so to speak. Because when the adrenaline kicks in, a lot of you guys don't know this, but it comes from one of them lobes in your brain. When it's go time, your body, your autonomic system, it shuts down your digestive tract. It shuts all that stuff down. That's why you don't even worry about eating. You can't shit, you can't pee, you can't do any of that stuff when you're in go mode. Your body automatically does that. It's part of the fight or flight response.
Yeah,
shuts that stuff down. You're just on full adrenaline then. But yeah, so it's that's the thing. You know, in my mind, I don't want to put the effort into trying to not necessarily teach people, but find somebody to fit a certain gear, find the right key for the right lock. If shit gets stupid, everybody's going to be worried about number one, and that's where me the people comes in versus we the people. It's all going to be on day one, on D-Day plus 2 minutes. It's all you and it's all your stuff. I don't care if you got a mag or not. It's all about you and your family right then, right there. Now, once time goes by, shit happens, people come together. That's when it's going to be really, really important. Now, it's great if you have a standing army that is dedicated to you and just you, and they don't have families of their own, and they don't have shit to do too. But when it goes down, it's going to be every man for himself. If your mag comes together after that, for people that were originally in your mag, that's great. But I'm telling you right now, there's going to be some that fall off. There's some that no show. There's going to be some that are just lying and full of shit. You know, and I'd rather just deal with that afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's going to be some hiding in their bunker, just fucking like fuck everybody.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Because imagine how many of these get together mags all over the country have literally, like most of the people, only spend a couple hours a week together, and that's it. But yet they think that they can live in a, you know, in a community together for the, you know, you don't know shit about somebody in a small amount of time like that. You don't know somebody until about 10 hours in. You know what I mean?
My whole outlook on a mag, a mutual assistance group. Here's what that is, and I'll just pull a fantasy out of my head. We're 90 days post complete breakdown. You know, grid down, CME, EMP, whatever it is. There's no simple anything. No, it's world without rule of law. That's where your mag comes into play, but it's not as in it's not a military.
Appreciate you, Ghost. Talk to y'all.
Yeah, but my views of a mag in that situation are it's going to be the people that come together to help each other, i.e., the guy that brings chickens, the guy that brings the rabbits, the guy that brings the eggs, the guy that's supplying eggs. You know, it's going to be a group of people, a community that come together to survive together, to where I don't have to worry about raising chickens, rabbits, cows, pigs, getting up the hay, you know, doing blacksmithing. There's one person or one family group that's doing certain things. You know, you got one guy that's raising the chickens. That's all he does. So he can do it really, really good. And you got one guy doing rabbits. That's all he does. So he can do it really, really good. And you come together and you trade. That's, to me, that's what a mag is.
Absolutely. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Good evening, Appalachian.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi, Susanna. Hi, Ghost. How are y'all?
Good, darling. How you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Just got done working out. Wore out.
I hear you.
Is
What
it
do you
cold? Go ahead.
do? What? Go ahead.
Is it cold where you're at?
That feels great. It's like 40, 48, 49. It's awesome. It's my favorite time of year, man.
No, sir. I hate it. I hate the cold.
I love the spring and the fall, man. That's the good time. That's when you get shit done.
Yeah, I like that. I'm the same way. It's like 50 and raining here.
So yeah, you can work all day, you can work all night. You might sweat a little bit, but you're not killing yourself. Yeah, I love the spring and the fall.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool here too.
Yeah, well, you're up there in the hills.
Where are you at, Susanna?
In Colorado.
Oh, dang. I bet it is.
I always wanted to live in Colorado. Even when I was a kid, I had a map and I had the town and everything picked out. I did. Pretty God, it was called Eagle, Colorado. There's a town called Eagle, Colorado.
It is pretty big. Yesterday when I was at the hospital, like all day long, um, we were in Aurora, and then it was they were, okay, here's why they're full, because they're short-staffed now. So they sent me to
Same here.
the hospital in Highlands Ranch, and I had to get the procedure done there.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what's going on here. It's not because there's so many so-called patients. It's because they're short-staffed.
Yep,
Mhm.
same here. Pacific Northwest, all short staff. People don't realize that there was actually a nursing shortage before the pandemic. Like there was,
It's been going
they
on
were.
for years.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's just all at once, and so that's why people are believing everything they're being told when they're not putting them all together at once. You know what I mean? Just like with the food shortages. When I talk about people getting food assistance, food stamps, and all that, on top of people not growing, on top of the trucks not picking the food up. I mean, it's all at the same exact time. Is
Right.
why you know,
The perfect
Yeah.
storm.
perfect, exactly the perfect storm.
101, you got a good point there. Civilian mags sound good in theory, but in real world situation, not so much. You got a good point, but it's a one sided point, brother. I'm gonna tell you why. Because a military mag can't survive without a civilian mag. If your job is just to shoot stuff, if your job is just to protect stuff, who's gonna feed you? So tacking the word civilian or military onto the mag to me you're just breaking down that's two pieces of the same puzzle. Your mutual assistant group, I mean, that's just as much for defense as it is for offense. You can have all those pieces, just give it one name, your mag. Saying that you have a mag doesn't mean that you have 15 people that walk around wearing body armor and Kevlar and carrying an M4 and they're ready to defend everything. Well, who's going to feed them? You know what I mean? So I would rather just include the mag at the mag, including the kids. It includes the old people with the knowledge and the experience. It includes the fighters. It includes the thinkers. The whole 9 yards. It's got to be an all inclusive little mini biome of everything you're going to need to make it.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
people that can sew. You're going to need people that can do medical stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
anything you can imagine would have to be in that group for it to be, successful.
Yeah, that's my part.
Yeah, they're
A
gonna
lot of
go
people
out.
who are great military, they're like, "Oh, I've got a mag," and their idea of a mag is getting a whole bunch of ex-green berets and infantry soldiers that can like basically just tear shit up. Well, that's great, but what about the rest of the stuff that you're going to need to survive? You know what I mean? So when I'm thinking of a mag, I'm thinking about an entire community that works together.
Yep.
Yeah, because you'll be missing out on bread. I mean, just the simple things we don't even think about that your military ass can't even make.
Well, the farmer is going to want protection, and the guy that's doing the protecting is going to want something to eat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it all works out together.
You
Yeah,
got to do it together. It ain't going to work for anybody. If you just got a whole
yeah,
full of farmers, you're gonna all your shit's gonna get taken by that group full of nothing but soldiers, and then both groups are gonna die. You know, one group's
yeah.
just gonna get taken out, and the other group's gonna die of starvation. So I mean, how's it work? I mean, are you gonna be a professional marauder and just keep taking? No, because eventually you're gonna run up on that mag that I'm in, where we can grow our own shit and we can throw seeds back at you.
Yeah, I think something people don't often think about as well is, learning to get along with each other, even with disagreements. You know, You can learn to be adults and do it right. But a lot of times, you get it's hard because I've seen some communities like that go down where they tried it and it didn't work because they didn't do it the right way.
Right.
They weren't, with the attitudes and the, things like that.
Like my whole, if you want a way to visualize the way I see a mag, how it should be made up, how it should be staffed, and how it works, just watch the movie Jericho. I mean, that little town Jericho was a mag. It was a
You meant TV show.
huh? Yeah, the TV show. It was a
Sorry, I
mag.
mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was mag. That was my perfect vision of a mutual assistance group. Was that little itty bitty town of Jericho? I mean, you had everything. You had the farmers, you had the fighters when they did the Rangers, you had the police, you had everything was there. There was order. I mean, shit got sideways here and there, but they took care of each other and they took care of the town. And I mean, that was a mutual assistance group.
Well, I just started rewatching that actually since our last conversation about it, Ghost.
Yeah,
I'm on episode 4 now. I just
Oh,
started rewatching it.
oh, it's just starting to get good. You fixing to come up on the Thanksgiving dinner and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I've already watched it. I've watched the series twice. Even my daughter loved that show. It's like, yeah, these are things that we need to get in. But so I got a question for you. Now, I've just kind of reconnected with my dad through a series of events in my life lately. And so I got on the phone with him. You know, we talked a good hour or two. Of course, he wanted to call me a Trumper, whatever. And, so I asked him, and he's a mountain guy. He's like a survivalist, not a prepper, but more like he can go in the woods and his ass will be fine for the rest of his life type of guy, right? Anti-gun, anti all that, but he knows how to survive, take care of his shit. So we got into the kind of the prepping talk, and I was like, Dad, if you need to, he's like 70 something or whatever, I could trust him. If if you find yourself hungry, and he went on to say this, and this is the question I got for you. Now, I tried to defend the fact that I didn't think that was the right idea, but I just want to hear your opinion. So he's like, look, if you and the family, if no matter what, if you ever find yourself hungry, no matter what situation there is, and he's guaranteeing that there'll always be army there, no matter what, there's always going to be army somewhere close to you, army, military, whatever. It's going to be close to you somewhere. You find them and you'll never go hungry. And I mean, I tried to argue my points with him, but what type of thinking like that? I mean, how much truth would there be in that? Because I kind of already know your answer, but for anybody out there thinking that, okay, just find the military and you'll be fine, I just think that's a bad idea. I really do.
That's a very, very bad idea.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. If you're in a city, if you're close to DC or New York City or Miami or something like that, yes, that would work because they're going to want the population in one place and they're going to make sure you stay fed a little bit. That's where the blue hats are going to be. That's where the blue helmets are going to be. They're going to be in the city.
Yeah.
If you're out in the middle of nowhere, if you're in bumfuck Kansas, you want to stay as far away from them as you possibly can because they're completely removed from the chain of command. They're pretty much doing their own thing, and they have to supply themselves with food. If the supply chain is that far stressed, they're already going to be at wits end. The last thing they're going to want to be doing is taking in strays and feeding. Now, if you show up at Fort Bragg or Fort Drum or Fort Huachuca or something like that, they'll probably have a tent city set up outside of the wire. You will never be inside the wire. They'll have a tent city set up outside the wire, and there'll probably be some rations and stuff there, but they're just going to make sure they can keep an eye on you. They're going to take that one piece off of the chessboard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're going to count. Yeah,
they're going to make sure that you're not an enemy as much as they possibly can, but they're never going to trust you to be a friend. So taking care of you is never going to be the number one priority. Number one, they just want to keep you where they can keep an eye on you. But yeah, I mean, if you're in a major city or something like that, of course, that actually probably will be your only option if it's been blocked off and fenced in. But as far as relying on them out in the woods, nah, because they're going to be coming for your shit.
that's what I was trying to. I didn't articulate it like as well as you did, but yeah, I pretty much told him the same thing. Like you're either a liability, they want to keep an eye on you, or they want to, either way, they're going to want to keep us all together, period. They don't want no lone wolves out there.
If you're in a town, they're going to feed you to keep order. If you're in the woods, they're coming to take your shit. I mean, look through history at every war that's ever been fought on foreign soils. I mean, I mean, the invading armies take everything, food, the whole nine yards. Because I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's hard for a soldier to carry more than say a week's worth of stuff with help. I mean, people don't understand how hard it is to function when you have to consume 3 gallons of water a day minimum if you're on the move. If you're a soldier humping, you're looking at 4 to 5 gallons a day, and water weighs 8.3 pounds a gallon. So to make it one day, you're carrying almost 50 pounds of just water. That's no seeds. That's no food.
Yeah.
That's just the water you have to carry if you're not moving alongside a clean water source. So you have to have infrastructure. You have to have a supply chain that's bringing up the water, that's bringing up the food. So it's
Oh yeah, and you know, I've been going through water like crazy just for these antibiotics, and I ain't moving. You know, I understand that.
it's like when I see people doing and keep me wrong, bugging out is a good strategy if that's what you want to do. To me,
that.
bugging out that's just a fancy word for evacuation. Now you're a damn refugee. If
I was just,
if all your stuff's in one location, eventually, even if you bug out, eventually you're gonna have to plant your heels in the ground, turn around and defend yourself. Well, now you're just defending a set, some dirt in the woods somewhere, maybe a tent when you can fit in behind a brick wall, in your home, with some resources. Eventually you're gonna have to take a stand. I'd rather do it from a defensible position other than running through the woods, dragging a kid in a tent and a rucksack that you think you packed all the stuff that you're gonna need. But we just go ahead and said that it's going to take you're going to be lumping. Where are you going to get 50 pounds of water every single day to keep you functional?
It's a fantasy.
Unless you're running the entire time down by a stream or a river, if you can take the water aspect completely out of the equation, it's a viable means of survival. If you can't completely take the reliance on water out, you've got problems.
Yeah, not counting the fact that you got thousands, if not millions, of other people going to the same fucking place you think you're going to be going. Like around here, it'd be straight to the mountains. Everybody's thinking, let's go to Mount Hood. Let's go to Mount St. Helens, up into the woods. No, fuck that.
If I had to legit bug out, and I'm going to be blatantly honest with you guys, if I had to legitimately bug out, I'll tell you exactly what's going to be in my bug out bag. If I got to go on foot, if I'm in a vehicle, it's different. But if I got to go on foot, it's just me. I got nobody else to worry about but me. I'll tell you exactly what's in the bug out bag. Water
and ammo.
Water and seeds. That's all I'm taking. Water and seeds. I'm not taking any food. I might have some protein bars or something shoved in my cargo pocket, stuff like that, or some MREs broken down. But it's going to be 90% just water. Because I can only go 72 hours without water. And that's a medical stance. That's 72 hours of you just sitting around drinking. That's not 72 hours of you out running through the woods, busting your ass. Okay.
And if you're high up, if you're high up in the mountains, altitude, you will dry out fast.
Oh yeah. You'll die of dehydration just as fast in the winter as you will in the summertime. You just don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Water is the number one priority, period. Water, because I've got 3 weeks to find food. Okay. I can go 3 weeks. Now, granted, after the first week, you're not going to be functioning at 100%, but you've got time to locate food. You've only got 72 hours if you're lucky to get water. So water is the number one and always will be. Actually, the number two. The number one priority is going to be breathing, oxygen. You know what I mean? So yeah, water. I mean, I'm taking water and seeds. It's a long gun, a sidearm, a knife, good pair of boots, some high calorie, packed full of sugar, energy stuff to eat, and a whole bunch of water.
Ghetto, my knee-jerk reaction to your question that you asked about finding the military, and like Ghost said, outside in a rural environment, would be that if they allowed you to live, that's if, then you would become a worker grunt. You're somewhat, you're going to be slaving for those programs. So no, that ain't no good idea.
That's everything that you both said is pretty much what I tried to articulate to him. But like I said, he's old, he's stuck in his ways. He doesn't even think there's anything wrong. He's like, "Oh, we've been going through everything you're mentioning right now sometime or another in my life. We'll be fine.
Yeah,
Don't be worried."
Badger hit on a good point, and I actually did a video. Actually, I've done a couple videos on this. If bugging out is an option that you're going to consider, then you need to have caches. That's what I'm saying. Just water. If you've got caches and spreading out from your location in several different directions, and in that cache, it's a 4-inch PVC pipe that you've sealed on both ends with caulking, so it's watertight, and you've got some extra seeds in there. You've got some food in there. You've got a couple bottles of water. Just the bare necessities to keep you moving, and you've got several of those placed on the routes that you're going to be bugging out, or one. You're going to need more than one route. So you don't know what direction you're going to have to go in. So you're going to need those things placed in certain areas. So you can get a reload. You can get, an MRE. You can get some canned tuna or whatever it is that you've stuffed in these PVC pipes. Now you don't want to go out there and start burying those 18-gallon Walmart totes, because if somebody walks across the top of it, they're going to know they just walked across that hollow tote in the ground.
Yeah.
PVC pipes work great. Get Schedule 40. They're nice and thick. You can bury it just a couple inches below the dirt, and somebody can stand right on it. They won't even know it's there. And you'd want to have those supplies if bugging out is something that you're going to consider doing. So yeah, that's a good point, Badger. Thanks for reminding me about that.
Yeah. And also, like the scenario that Virginia was given on Natives stream, it's like you got to make sure that you know that your bug out location isn't already going to be occupied before you even fucking get there. Excuse my language, ladies. You know what I mean? Like that's always a chance. Yeah, I think the same way as you, dude. I'm not bugging out of nothing. I ain't becoming a refugee in my own fucking country. It's not happening. I'm gonna do. This is my mountain. You're gonna have to get through the walls. I mean, depending whether. I mean, there's so many different factors. No matter what, no matter how much we plan, there's gonna be factors that might happen that we may not have thought of.
Yeah, I mean, that's the cool thing about doing the scenarios. But I mean, here's the thing too. I don't care how long you've been prepping, how good your brain is, how good of a survivalist you are. You can sit up here and just have people ask you questions and throw you, fish eggs all day long, and eventually your plan's going to break down. There's no correct answer for every single scenario. Eventually, somebody's going to hit you with one. Yep, you're going to die there. Yep, you're probably going to die on this one too. But it's just about the choices that you make. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you're in a defensible position, obviously that's where you want to stay. But you also need to fly very low on the radar the time the balloon goes up until it's, you know what I mean? You don't want to draw attention to yourself. You want to be very, very low key. That's why the secrets are that's a main thing about prepping is nobody needs to know what you have. They don't need to know how much you have. They don't need to know where it's at, and it should never be all in one location.
Yeah.
I think you hit on a good point there. The first thing that every prepper needs to wrap their mind around is that none of us are getting out of this alive.
Yep.
To a certain extent. I mean,
this is not about
nobody
guarantee your survival. You know what I mean?
No.
If a 10-mile wide rock hits the earth tomorrow, yeah, got it out. It is what it is. About it. If Yellowstone pops tomorrow, it'll be a hell of a light show. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you survive until you die, and yeah.
I'm not gonna. If it does come, I'm not gonna die hungry. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna worry about my family being hungry until the oxygen runs out. They're gonna go fat and happy. You know what I
mean? Yep.
But wrapping your mind around the fact that we are going to at some point die, and a lot of us may. I mean, I may not make it. I've said that to my family, but somebody's going to benefit from everything I'm doing.
Well, here's the thing. See that. It comes to when I always said, when people are dropping news about Israel and all these other countries and this military stuff, I don't care. I mean, it's good to know about it, but I'm not going to fall all into it and get all upset about it because why? I can't touch it. I can't reach out and touch it. I can't change the direction of any of that. Nobody at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue called me and said, hey, Ghost, what's your opinion on this military action we're fixing to take? All right. I'm not in the loop. The only thing I can worry about is my circle. All I can do is make sure I got food, make sure I got water, make sure I got seeds, make sure I'm building knowledge, make sure I'm networking. That's the things that I can do. Right? If you can't physically change anything that's going on around you, don't worry about it. I mean, that's just, you're wasting time.
It's a waste of energy, yeah. That's
I
why I
mean,
tell people all the time. They're like, "Oh, you're a prepper." I'm like, "I'm a prepper for myself, but in game, long haul, my main goal, I'm prepping my kids for their future." You know what I
Exactly.
mean? I got kids, so obviously that should be my main priority. How do I think their country's gonna look? And if I really dive into it, I believe that my kids will be growing up as adults my age, living in a country identical to Afghanistan or any of these other fucking places out there. If I start thinking on it too hard, which I try not to because I still need to stay strong and be like, look, this is what you're going to need to do. This is who you don't trust. And then as they grow into their own adults, they're going to have their own mind and their own
yeah,
thoughts, but at least I guided them the right way.
Their
yeah.
own
I mean, I full on prep, hoping I never have to use any of it. You know, it's just
Yes.
a security blanket.
Yes.
I don't. Here's the thing: the people across the street, people down the road, if something goes bad, they might have to worry about eating. You know, the economy's going through the roof. We got hyperinflation. Food prices are through the roof. If you haven't been prepping, if you're not prepped and you got 3 days worth of food in your house, there's a really good chance, and you lost your job. There's a really good chance you're laying in bed right now, going, "Damn it, I should have." You know, instead of going on those 2 cruises last year, I should have spent that money putting some food back. You know what I mean? Now, I don't have to worry about that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Not for the,
Yeah.
the immediate near future. That's something that I don't have to worry about because I prepared for that.
and
It,
that's
Yeah.
with any. It doesn't have to be catastrophic. I mean, shit happens. Life happens every day to everybody in one way. In the perfect world, I
yeah,
mean,
Yeah.
so but no matter what, you're ready.
yeah,
Yeah. I thought it was hilarious when we went through the toilet paper thing. And my
oh my,
wife before that, my wife before that, she would always ask me why I would get so much. And then when it was happening, I was looking at her, I was like, you see why we keep 3 months worth? That's something that we're always gonna buy. So if
yeah,
it's something that you're gonna always need, like food, water, toiletries, soap, you know what I mean? Things like that, it's not even an investment. It should be just common sense.
and I
But
mean, you
I was like, yeah,
like, in your prep, don't prep the body wash and shit like that. Prep bar soap.
yeah,
Okay, bar soap lasts a long time.
And it's
You
cheap.
oh yeah,
know, prep your
yeah.
bars. And it's like with the toilet paper. Even before everything got stupid, 2 years ago, I had plenty of it put up. Shelf stock, because I just got into the habit. Every time I go, or at least one, usually every 2 weeks, I get a big ass case of tea. It's on the shelf. I've got at least a year's worth. Um, you know,
Yeah.
not because it's I knew I was it's and I even tell the story I told the other night when I'm in line at the store when all this thing goes nuts and there was a guy in front of me and he legit it was somewhere between 8 and 10 of the big cases of toilet paper. They were legit. He was having to hold them into the cart as he's pushing up to the thing, and I kind of snickered. He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Dude, you got like 100 years worth of food at your house?" And he goes, "No." And I'm like, "Then what? What? It has to go in one end to come out the other. Why
Yeah.
are you buying a year's worth of toilet paper and you got 2 weeks worth of fucking food?"
People ain't got no
Yeah,
sense though, don't think.
Top ramen in the cupboard, but yet your whole entire pantry is filled with toilet paper.
got a year's worth of toilet paper and no food. How does
What
that
you
work?
shit, man? What you
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be putting something in this end for it to come out that end. I mean, I don't understand your logic there. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm just
Now,
like, yeah,
on the bar soap thing, I always save my half bars. That way we boil them up, add a little bit of water. That's where we get our body wash liquid soap stuff from. Is all the little, the slivers.
save those slivers in a
Yeah, I vacuum seal them up. Yeah.
it's like spending crazy amounts of money on toothpaste to stock up toothpaste. All right, cool. If you can afford to do it and you want to do it that way, great. But what I suggest you do is just buy a shitload of baking soda. Okay, concentrate the toothpaste money on buying more food. Then when you cross
Yeah.
the boundary and you get all the food you're going to need, then go get your fancy toothpaste. But until then, you got baking soda, you're good.
Yeah.
yep.
Baking soda,
Grow
peroxide.
It's just, I mean, I don't. I see people, buying, crazy crabs, and I've seen people stockpiling brown rice. What the fuck is wrong with you? You got 6 months max. You got
because
six
they don't
months
know
max.
these rules. They have no idea that brown rice doesn't have the shelf life. They have no concept.
You got 6 months max on brown rice. Now, if you love brown rice, should you still, prep it? Of course, you got a 6 month window. Just recognize that, you know why, it's I don't know, man. People, and don't get me wrong, I'm not dogging on them, because I'm sure some of the stuff I prep and the way I prep, people go, that's just stupid. Goes, that's fine, but it works for me. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying anything they're doing is wrong. I'm just saying I don't understand why you do it that way. I really don't.
You don't even need baking soda. My great granny, when I'd spend the night with her, she died at 109 in 1999. So when I spend the night with her, we would go outside and get a little bitty stick, twig, and cement, and that is literally how we brushed our teeth when we got up in the morning. I mean, you don't have to have fancy stuff.
It's like my dog. He doesn't chew on those dentist sticks. Carrots work great to clean a dog's teeth. My dog gets carrots every day. Carrots work great to clean a dog's tooth. Carrots work good. And a lot of dogs, you'll see them sometimes chewing on sticks. They're not doing it because they like the taste of wood. They're brushing their damn teeth. The problem with a lab is follow the whole stick.
Yeah. Yeah, people need to prep like that, man. Like I was talking to somebody and they didn't know what I was talking about. I was like, man, you never heard of a smoke bath? Like, man, you get some good juniper, some pine needle, stuff like that, throw it on the fire and stand over the fire while it's super smoky. That's killing all the germs that are on your body. You know what I mean? That are on your clothes, that's keeping you clean. I mean, there's so many alternatives to keep us clean. Like she said, to brush your teeth with mint and a stick. I mean, there's so many ways that we as humans can survive without,
look at society. I mean, you got society coming up now where they've got a shower every morning and every night. You realize that's actually very, very unhealthy?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's actually unhealthy to shower every day.
Yeah, I wait till the wife says, "Yo, go clean your ass," and then I'll go take one. I got you. No, I'm just kidding.
Unless you're out, humping in the field and doing some crazy, dirty stuff, then every day you got to do what you got to do. But if you're just living a normal life, a 9 to 5, and you're not, super exerting yourself, going crazy on sweating, Monday, Wednesday, Friday is perfectly fine. I'm not, if you got the funk, you got to do what you got to do. But the scrubbing all the beneficial stuff off of your outer layer of your body is detrimental to your health.
My grandpa used to take a bath, with a wash pan behind the wood stove once, maybe twice a week. I mean, that's just how it was. What do they think people did? Most everything that we do today in the last 100 years is new in the last 100 years. Prior to that, or even 60, 70 years prior to that, what do they think people did?
Well, people now, society now has taken, all right, they've turned bath time and shower time into this pleasurable half hour of your day. That was never what it was about. It was cold water and washing your balls. That was what it was about. You know what I mean? Taking a bath or a shower or hopping in the creek was about hygiene. It was about, it's time to wash the car. It's time to clean the outer garments. You know what I mean? It wasn't about, it's 7:30 p.m. It's time for my Calgon to take me away, relaxing 30 minutes. That's a made up thing.
Yeah.
That's legitimately a made up thing. Like, it's almost like saying, it's time to take a deep breath in. Everybody watch me. Let's clap and celebrate when I breathe out, because it's just awesome. No, it's something that you have to do to survive. Okay. But it's been marketed as this pleasure time, half hour in the tub, away from the kids with the bubbles. Yeah, okay. All right. Do you, man? Just hop in the cold shower.
Shaving is a fairly new concept for women. I mean, literally in the last 100 years, women did not shave. Can you imagine? Yeah. We're so used to it now.
Yeah.
My husband said if we ended up in a cave, then I better get a sharp rock. Because
here's the thing: if you've never shaved your legs before, you don't have the bristly, hard, tough hair. It's just like nice, fine. If you've seen women in cultures that have never shaved before, they have hairy legs, but it's not this big gorilla-looking mass curly knotted up hair. It's like really fine, really thin, small hairs.
Pretty much like ours, yeah, because obviously we don't shave ours.
and French women still don't shave their underarms, and they don't bathe either. Y'all ever been around a French? That's why
Oof.
you smell like a French whore because you put on so much perfume. Because
If
they
you're
don't
a,
Yeah.
like we do.
yeah, if you're a man that's married, obviously to a woman, and just test it out for say 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. Just
Oh
don't
no.
shave her legs. Like if your wife did not shave
Oh
her
no.
legs for 90 days and you stood beside her, her legs would be like a woolly gorilla legs, and here you are up there with this little pasty white, barely got any
I'm
hair on.
not. I'm not tempting fate. She does that. If she does that shit, she's sitting out on the curb with Prepper 101's mother-in-law. No, hell no.
Yeah, but just think about the good part. I mean, there's a good part of this ghetto. Maybe her hair grows long enough to cover up her feet.
Oh man. Well, I'm one of the very few lucky women who doesn't have to shave because I don't grow hair on my legs.
Oh my God.
All right.
But
the legs honestly don't bother me as much as the armpits, man. That would be one thing I just could not do. Like that would be one thing I now my wife can do whatever she wants. I mean, it's her body. I don't have to sit there and shave and do all that every day or whatever. So she can do what she wants, but she doesn't even believe in that shit. That'd just be gross.
Yeah, that would be kind of. Yeah, I can't do the underarm hair. That yeah.
That's scary, dude.
I like that.
But that's society, you know.
Yeah, the armpit hair kind of gets me like feet get you. I see a good looking woman with arm hair, and it's a deal breaker.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what she's got.
It's a deal breaker right there. I can't even roll that way. I mean, unless she's gonna walk around, the entire time with her arms pinned to her side, not,
Yeah, duct tape her ass up.
Yeah.
Sorry, ladies.
All right, boys and girls, we're at 2.5 hours. I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I'm gonna go get me a bite to eat, watch a little YouTube, see who else is on, see what they're talking about. I think we're gonna stick a fork in this one.
Appreciate
I want to
you having me.
thank everybody on the panel for coming up here. Appalachian, Susanna, Ghetto. Who else was up here? There was somebody else, wasn't it?
Hutch.
Hutch
He's
was up
easily forgotten. It's fine. He's easily forgotten.
Thank you guys for participating. Thanks to everybody in the chat hanging out, man. We had some killer numbers all night long. It's been up in the 60s and 70s all night. That's awesome. Appreciate the mods. I appreciate the members as well. Members, y'all rocked it, man. Y'all give me some good topics this week. Hopefully we'll do the same thing next Monday. And for those of you that don't know what I do, is I'm live 6 nights a week. I go Monday through Friday with the Daily Nugget, and I do Saturdays at 8 with the live canning stream with the Cannibals, and then Monday before the 7:30 stream for the Daily Nugget at 6:45, I do a members only live stream. And what I do for the members of the channel, they basically get to choose the format and the topics that we're going to talk about for the upcoming week. So if you're interested in participating in that, by all means, we welcome you on board. If not, just stay tuned and hopefully we'll get to your topic sooner or later. But that's a perk that the members get, so they get to choose the topics. And for tomorrow's topic is, what's tomorrow's topic? I have to look at my notes. I can't remember what tomorrow's topic is. It's either the volcano issues or it's diving a little bit deeper into the supply chain stuff. I'm not really sure yet. We'll figure it out. But hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow at the same time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And other than that, anybody on the panel, you guys got anything for the chat?
Yep. Thank you, Ghost and Appalachian, for coming up here and Ghetto Prepper. And thank you to everybody in chat.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Good night. Love y'all.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody. Remember to prep people as well as things.
Yep. Yeah. Kidnap as many helpful people as you possibly can. Just poke holes in the box when you put them on the shelf.
And have a good night.
Y'all be good.